appropriate for.
Very
I don't
cool.
know.
So was
Playing
Haskell your
around with
first,
things.
or?
Oh no. I think I'm trying to. I just sort of got into it. I don't know what. I know. So I got into programming writing Python probably when I was like a long time ago, when I was like 11 or 12 maybe, and then I just like slowly accumulated, like I would like see a book in the library or something and like, oh, here's a book about C++. I see people talking about C++ online. It's time to learn about that a little bit. And then eventually I found a book about Lisp. And I got really into Lisp. And in the Lisp book at the start, they mentioned a bunch of other things. They're like, oh, if you like this Lisp stuff, you might like Haskell. So I had that in like the back of my mind for a few years, and I like kept trying it and like bouncing off of it really quick, because it's like, you know, it's kind of weird if you're not used to that. And then eventually, after like the third or fourth try, I was like, wait, this rocks. Actually, this is actually really cool. So
Yeah.
and then kind of got into it through that. Through that.
Yeah, no.
Are you a? Oh,
Go ahead, please. Go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that Rust is like, you know, definitely like takes a bit of getting used to, especially if you, as you did, come at it from like a different programming language. I kind of wonder how Rust would be as like a first programming language. I feel like by nature of what it is, it's not good for a first programming language, because I wouldn't subject like a newcomer to doing like low-level programming or something like that. But if you went into it without like any like preconceptions of like C-like programming languages or stuff like that, I wonder how much easier it would be to learn, because I feel like the hardest part of learning Rust is almost like unlearning like all of the, you know, things that other programming languages do differently.
Yeah, maybe so. I think I don't know. My usual opinion is that like what you learn first probably doesn't matter that much, but like maybe it probably does matter a little bit at least. I think it definitely helps. I kind of go back and forth thinking like, I think Rust has made me a better C programmer. I wrote a ton of C before I learned Rust. So I was like generally like, this was kind of an advantage on one hand. In the sense that it's like, well, you know what a pointer is, right? You have a general idea of like what what's going on here. But then on the other hand, it's like, well, you do have to unlearn some bad habits sometimes.
True. Yeah.
But then I've also like seen people like, you know, diving straight into Rust if they have not like worked in something that's like a unmanaged language, right, with no garbage collection and stuff. And then it's like, well, you know, sometimes some of the restrictions feel unmotivated maybe. So this can be, I don't know. It's a weird. It probably is just like you should just learn everything. That's kind of what when people ask.
Every single
like,
programming language, learn them
well, I
all.
mean, you should just like not like, it's not like an RPG class or something, right? This stuff, it's not like it takes forever to learn things.
That's
and,
true.
You should just learn everything. You should just get into everything. It's fine.
That's true.
You'll have time. What else are you gonna do with your time? You have 100 years or 80 years on it. Just figure it all out. Just do it all eventually.
The only problem is they keep making more stuff to learn.
Yeah, I mean that's good.
It is good. It is good.
Yeah, it's great. I want to be learning new stuff until forever.
Hell yeah, I love that.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I do
Rust?
think that to an extent it's like, you know, once you know one programming language, maybe you don't know them all, but you know like a lot of your skills can transfer, you know, because you like your, you know, you like I started with PHP of all things, and
Oh yeah.
then I went into JavaScript, and from there like Java and other stuff, and it's like, you know, sure, like the syntax is a bit different, but like the logic and like the thinking just transfers.
Yeah. I have the broad like feeling that like, I don't know. Like I have this sense in my head that like programming is not about knowing things, right? It's about like learning things, right? Like it's
True.
like, you know, anything you learn, like being like, well, I have this concrete list of skills, and my skills are, oh, I know Ruby on Rails, and I know X and Y and Z, and like this is you know, in 5 or 10 years this will be, the landscape of things will change, but like the core skill of like, well, I know how to learn things well, and I know how to like,
exactly.
read things, and I know how to like, I have a general like mindset that like lets me like pick things up, is like, this is good, right? This is a good thing to pick up. Yeah, I don't know. It's a big world. It's a big world out there.
So, do you have right now, you would say, like a favorite programming language? Is it like Rust, or is it, if you could choose anything to write in, what would it be?
No, I don't think so. I don't really have I don't even know opinions about things. I guess that's kind of that's where I am. I just do whatever's fun, and that's like a lot
Hmm.
of stuff. Like on stream, I think I probably like what have like I kind of go between writing uh uh Rust a bunch of Rust, a bunch of C, a bunch of Haskell, a bunch
Hmm.
of Emacs Lisp. We write pure scripts sometimes. We write other Lisps. We write kind of like whatever is interesting. It doesn't really. I'm not really like I don't know. And I like doing things just like in a bunch of different ways and like playing with stuff. And yeah, I'm not really in a position where have a lot of like external pressure to like
Hmm.
consider things on their merits. I guess, which I'm grateful for. I never really have to be like, well, what's the best tool for the job? I can kind of just be like, well, okay, this is fun. This is fun. Let's do this.
Do
Yeah.
you just
So
pick
no,
whatever you're in the mood for on that day?
yeah,
Basically?
whatever you know. And also some things, you know, it's just more convenient to use
Mhm.
things, and sometimes it's convenient for factors that are like not like how do you say like not like intrinsic to the language, right? It's like oh,
Mhm.
we already built something that can talk to this easily. Let's just use this,
Yeah.
right? That's nice. Or this is conveniently on hand, and we have this other thing. Right? It's often the surrounding considerations. This is the guy. Uh, yeah, yeah. What is your favorite language currently?
I mean, right now I
don't
would
wanna-
have to say Rust, just because like
Yeah.
what happened is that like I hadn't done any recreational programming for like years, just because like work was kind of like I don't know, fun for me, you know.
Yeah.
And not to say
yeah.
that I hate my work now, but just like it's turned into like just quite a bit of code review and just I guess for me what really made me want to do recreational programming again is like AI. Like I don't hate AI, but I do feel like it makes programming less fun. Just because it how do you feel about that, by the way? I'm just gonna interrupt myself here. How do you feel about AI and the impact? Have you done anything with AI? Because like you don't need to, no one's like telling you to. So what's like your take on it?
I have not used it.
Mhm.
I started off feeling kind of. I'm still like kind of, you know, broad. You know, I'm neutral on it, but like
Mhm.
it's. I think the more I hear about it, the less I want to use it. And in fact, at this point, I'm like, I think I'm going to stubbornly dig in my heels and be like, well, it's time to not use this ever. And in fact, I think I would quit a job if they made me use this because, like, I just like programming. I don't want to
Mhm.
program less.
I
wanna
know,
program
I
more.
know.
I want to program more.
Yes,
Fuck this.
yes,
This is
so true.
so. Yeah, I do not care about this. I do not really care
Mhm.
for it. Yeah, it's yeah.
So you've just avoided it entirely, basically.
I've avoided it entirely.
Mhm.
I've never used it. I don't think I ever will.
Are you the kind of like I'm the kind of person where like the more hyped something is, the less I want to use it. Are you kind of like that too?
Yes, I have the hipster's spirit. The heart of the hipster beats,
True, yeah.
beats in my chest. This is exactly. But I mean, beyond this, even I think it just kind of sucks. I don't know. It's just lame. It's I don't know. They have a they have a marketing problem with the AI stuff. It all feels very lame and silly, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's kind of irrelevant to me, right? Like it's like it solves a problem that I don't have.
Yeah,
If it
true.
solves any problem, the problem that it claims to solve is the problem that I don't have,
Mhm.
which is like I don't need to like have someone else write a bunch of stuff that I
Yeah.
can just write. So like I don't know. Who knows?
So
But I'm glad you've been enjoying
Mhm.
like had the opportunity to pick up recreational stuff.
Yeah.
again. This is really good. This is great.
yeah, so just on the
Yeah.
point of AI, but like personally, I have used it like at work. There's been like a big push to use it, and I did like at least in the context of work, start using like Cursor and just like the autocomplete, which I feel like is fine because like it's just it's not really. I mean, I still wouldn't use it on my own, but I'm okay with it because all it does is like make me faster at typing. It's just like
Yeah.
it's like really good at like say I'm like doing a refactoring and I'm like I start for it was like like on Friday I was converting like some request from JSON to like form data, and it's just
Yeah.
I started doing like 1% of it and it just immediately like did the whole thing for me, and I was like, well, that's convenient, like that's
Yeah.
And I think it's like especially in web dev because like there's so much boilerplatey stuff in web dev, you know, like there's so much simple kind of like boring stuff in web dev that it's like AI is really well suited to it because like you're kind of just solving the same problem over and over. Like when you look at like, you know, 5 different websites, realistically like 90% of them is going to be the same because they're all just, you know, CRUD web servers that just serve content and make database changes, and so there's not that much creativity there compared to like, you know, some low-level Rust thing or something. And so
I don't know. Maybe I'm you know, I totally get using this kind of thing in the context of work, right? You just gotta do it. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Productivity, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think I've like maybe I'm a freak too in this. I like doing boring stuff too. Right? I have this in me. I like it's kind of like a nice little break built in almost, right? I think it's you know, when people talk about like the pacing of a movie or like the pacing of like an album or something, right? I think this is like it's a nice element of pacing in like in a programming project or something, right? Like you have like a period where like, oh, I have to think really hard about this thing. It's some like it's like, oh, there's like math involved and I have to, and then there's like a period where it's like, well, I just got to make the buffers, the things go into the right places, right? And then there's like a little more period of like there's real thinking, and then there's a little more like CRUD. So even for my own stuff, at least I even like doing the boring stuff, the boilerplate. I wouldn't give that up. Yeah.
No, I do get that. Renegade in chat is saying, I find AI to be best when you give it a huge log and they point out the oddities, not for it to fix it. I found that it's pretty useful for things like code review too, like, because like, you know, my company like open sourced their projects and we have like CodeRabbit and whatever else it's called, and it's pretty decent as like a first line of defense against like, you know, common coding mistakes and stuff like that. So again, it's like kind of like you said, it like depends. Are you doing it for work? Are you trying to maximize productivity, or are you doing it for fun? And if you're doing it for fun, it's like, you know, why would I want to automate part of that fun away if I'm just like, you know, it doesn't matter like whether I'm typing the same thing in 3 times, I'm having fun, you know?
Yeah. And we have a tool for not typing the thing in 3 times too. That's like the whole thing. It's like we have abstraction, right? We have subroutines.
Yeah,
we have
exactly.
Functions, right? We have like this exists. Also, Control O points out in the chat, I do use this for humor purposes sometimes. I have like little robots and things on my stream. I have like little guy that talks occasionally, because it is like crazy what this stuff can do, right? It is crazy. Sure. We live in a world where like computers can broadly ingest and output human readable text.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of rough edges around that, right? But I think that's more. I think if I'm interested in it at all, I'm interested in that angle of it, of like, I don't know, like, do you have I don't know, are you a gamer, Maya Rayner?
I am.
You do a little bit of gaming?
Yeah.
I've been known to from time to time as well, do a little bit of gaming. And I'm kind of interested in like interactive fiction, like text games. This is I don't know if you have any like there's old guys like Zork and stuff like this, and then there's newer ones, and I'm interested in it for this purpose, and not in like driving the logic of a game, but I think it would be fun to make something where like you could have like a very like flexible game world, and then your program basically just outputs like very structured data, like you could imagine, like, I don't know, like JSON, or like very like standardized boring kind of text descriptions of like, oh, you're in this location, there are these things here, there are these items here, and then like using the robot guy to kind of launder this into text that is a little more, you know, I don't know, human digestible. So, but this is kind of the limit of what I've looked at it for.
Someone on on Thursday or something was showing off something like that. It was like still pretty rough around the edges, but they were like doing kind of like text-based adventure, and like the AI was taking the role of the dungeon master basically. So it's like, you know, single player D&D, and you're like just typing in like, you know, your actions, and then it like constructs a world around it. So this could be pretty cool for sure. Yeah,
and I would love to explore opportunities of using it where I feel like it's honestly, ironically, its weakness is the intelligence part, right? Its weakness just feels like thinking, right? And like maintaining like
Yeah.
internal consistency and logic. I would love to not use it for the thinking part and use it for the just the writing part, right?
Yeah.
Do a traditional kind of, you know, just program for the actual game logic. I mean, speaking of this also, there is kind of an existing movement of people playing like D&D and these kinds of things solo. There's like there are like supplements for this and like various like dice rolling techniques, right, to do random text generation. And I wonder if this could benefit.
Like outside of AI, that movement, you mean?
Yeah. I remember doing this like years and years ago. Like, and there are like, you know, it's kind of a weird thing. It feels kind of lonely. It's like, well, why just, you know, play with your friends? But like, it's kind of fun. You basically like kind of play in a notebook almost. And, like, you have techniques where it's like, well, you roll this value on the dice, and this means like that, you know, the fact you like have some like idea in mind, and you roll the dice, and the result tells you like that's true, but you know, and then you roll some other die and it gives you like some generalized caveat on that fact and things like this. And I wonder if this could be, I don't know. There's a lot of things that you could do with it maybe, but I haven't thought about it that much because of the I think the aforementioned marketing problem makes it
Yeah, that's true.
a bit tricky. Yeah.
Have you ever played like a real D&D, like in a group of players?
Yeah. For a long time, I was really into when I was in college. I got really into there was this kind of like D&D movement thing for a while called the OSR that people would do, where people were like trying to play like really old D&D again, or like play old supplements and like make new stuff for like advanced Dungeons and Dragons first edition, and like like in the really early days of D&D, it was like split into like advanced and basic, and people were, I don't know. I played a lot of those. Yeah. Are you a tabletop RPG enjoyer?
I am. I've played a few campaigns of D&D. And like one of Pathfinder. Not for a while. It's been a long time ago, but I remember enjoying it a lot just because it's, I don't know, just a fun group activity really, and there's like a lot of room for like collaborative storytelling and just you know, just having fun together. And the solo D&D thing you described probably wouldn't be my thing as much, not even just because of the solo thing, but just because of the because it sounds like it would be very RNG focused, and I feel like the best DMs are those that, like, you know, use the dice rolls as a suggestion, you know, like they're like, okay, they roll the dice, but they kind of like tell their own story on top of that, because like realistically, like, you know, in basic D&D, it's like, okay, you get a bad roll and your character dies. It's just kind of like, it doesn't make for a good story, you know? I'm a freak. I love this. I want to be, you know, I don't know. The way I, you know, I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit, but the thing I like about old D&D is that, like, I don't know. The way I've always approached it is like, those old versions of the game are very like lethal, right? And yeah,
they're very,
for sure.
Like, the rules are very unforgiving. And we kind of always like would view it as like a rule avoidance game almost, right? Where like if you're interacting with the rules, right? Like this is a lost state almost, right? It's like, well, you go and you're fighting some little goblin guy, right? If you're in a fair fight, you've lost basically, right?
Yeah.
You're flipping a coin whether you live or die, right? Which is sort of, you know, I don't know. There's sort of an element of like realism to this almost, right? It kind of creates this grittier tone where it's like you probably don't want to be fighting fair, right? And like risking your life.
For sure, yeah.
And you have to start thinking like, okay, well, how do I avoid a fair fight? Do I set up some kind of trap and just, you know, do I you know, roll the boulder down the hallway and smush them all before we have to fight and things like this. But it's a very different style of game. I definitely agree with that. But I haven't played in some time as well. It's something I've been missing lately a lot. So I'm trying to think of how to like incorporate this somehow in my current life.
Yeah, you just gotta find like a like-minded group basically. But I do also like what you said. Is that I always felt like that the most boring part of D&D was the actual, like, you know, turn order combat, because it's just kind of like you said, it's like where basically all the role playing goes out the window and you just start interacting with the rules. You know, it's just okay. You read the character sheet, you like see which attacks can I do. You start min-maxing everything, and it's just so much less fun than, you know, like rolling the boulder down over them or something like you said.
Yeah, I really like the improvisational aspect of it. Like I think really the best way to play is like a lot of just like the the game master, right, or the referee is kind of like an arbiter of rules, and like they're kind of fairly trying to like simulate this little world, but then you are free to like outside of like any written rules, like ask them questions and kind of do things that you would just say, okay, I'm doing this, and like, okay, is this something that makes sense that you can do? Well, you can do this. It has these consequences. I think this sort of thing is like if you're just like following the rules and rolling the dice, like it's just play a video game, right? It's just you're turning a human being into a bad computer to like compute numbers for you, right? The thing that a human can do is like do this kind of I don't know, improvisational interpretive sort of thing where it's this is great.
Like you said, like basically like interact with the rules as little as possible, just kind of use them as like a baseline to like build a story upon, and involve the players as much as the game master, basically.
Yeah. I've really thought about doing something where like I'm playing basically the same as I play currently, or like have played in the past, but replacing all of the rules with like, okay, if there's any uncertainty about the direction and outcome goes, we flip a coin. You want to avoid flipping the coin, right? Like, if you get in any fight, we flip a coin. You die if it's false, if it's tails, right? If the thing could succeed or not succeed reasonably, if it's even odds, we flip a coin. If it's in your favor, or in the other party's favor, it just happens, right? Like this is, I don't know, this is something maybe.
So not even like a D20, just like a D2 basically.
Yeah, a D2, and this is the only, I don't know. This is maybe a little too much for most people, but it's I don't know. It's an interesting idea, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a fan of like, RNG in games in general. Just, and I always like just being able to, I don't know, it makes it feel like even if I succeed, like RNG just kind of makes, I know like a lot of like current games have RNG and it's like a big mechanic in a lot of them, like drops and whatnot, but it's like, I don't know, I always more prefer just like skill-based stuff personally.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think it's best if things are driven by like someone's in, like I think the place where I like it sometimes is like I don't know, I kind of like it as like a, there's games where there's RNG, but the thing you're trying to do is to mitigate the RNG, right? This is kind of fun occasionally. I don't know if you've ever played like Fire Emblem or XCOM or like these sorts of like tactics games.
I know XCOM, but I haven't played it, no. But I know what you mean. It's like, it is RNG based, but it's like very openly RNG based. Like it shows you the probabilities and everything. Like it's very predictable and very min-maxable.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing where like, if you have a 50% chance you really want to have like a 100% chance to like hit, if you have a 50% chance, that's not something you want to rely on, right? It's like it's involved, but it's sort of like a skill element where you're trying to like mitigate this, minimize the risk you're exposed to, I guess, is something that's kind of fun. But yeah, I agree. It's nice. I mean, this is any game, right? It's nice if your actions are the thing that influences the
exactly.
This is good.
If it doesn't feel like, oh well, I just won, but it's like, because dice decided in my favor. Like I want to be the one deciding in my favor. I don't want it to be the dice deciding in my favor.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, speaking of games in general, is there anything you're playing recently? What's the Maya Rayner gamer roster, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, my main game for the longest time, which I took quite a big break off and have been trying to get back into, is Apex Legends. I don't know whether you've ever played that.
I haven't, but I'm broadly familiar. This is the one that's like is it in the same world as Titanfall?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Have you played Titanfall?
Yeah. I have not. I'm horrible at shooters. I have horrible like reaction time.
Me too. I do my best though.
Yeah. Oh no, it's fun. I like the concept of battle royale stuff a lot. I like going, like the idea that going and hiding and things. This is really fun. A cool gameplay thing.
And another thing I've been playing also a little while ago now is do you know the Zachtronics games?
I do. Yes.
Have you played them?
I've played a couple of them, yeah. Which one are you on right now?
I mean, the one I played ages ago was SpaceChem, and the one I've been doing now was TIS 100, which is like the assembly one. Basically just literally just coding, but packaged up as a game.
Yeah. I played this one a long time ago. This is a good one. There's a couple of them that are just like, they kind of like almost fall into two, like there's like the Space Chemie ones where they're like geometry puzzles, right? And then there are just like the straight coding ones. I played Exopunks too, I think. That's also a very coding guy. He's a heavy programming one from them. Cool.
So it's like your
Nice.
recent gaming.
My recent gaming? No, I think I haven't been playing too much. I've been playing Final Fantasy VI with my wife. This has been my main. Yeah, largely I don't know. I played a bunch of UFO 50 recently, which is like a fake retro game collection. I thought was really cool. I've been trying to like, I don't know. I've been trying to focus. I want to make some games. So this has been my at least attempted focus. Trying to, I don't know, or at least this is what I tell myself when I'm like, okay, well, I won't play the game. I'm gonna go make this instead. But then I end up playing the game anyway. So, I thought you were like an early 20 college student. I'm 28. I'm an old man. I'm an old man. Tobs on Twitch. Whenever I see your name, Tobs on Twitch, I see you around, and I'm always wondering if you're looking for. I have a friend who's also a streamer who just has the name Tobs. So I always have like, this is a funny coincidence. Like the one person I know has stolen the name from, or maybe it's related somehow. I don't know. But sorry, that's.
and yes, dear, you're correct. TRS-100 is the assembly one.
Yeah.
Also, I'm pretty sure early 20s college students are allowed to have wives. I'm pretty sure that exists.
They assumed I was like 33 or so. Yeah, I mean, I've known her since we were in college, but
Since you were an early 20s college student?
yeah, I think I have old programmer interests. This is the thing, right? Like I'm like the Emacs person. I'm always doing Emacs stuff, and like, I don't know. I think it's just, I don't know. That stuff's cool. it's cool and fun. It doesn't have to be. Yeah. I think also like I have the programming tastes of someone who's like, I started doing this when I was really young, and like I just like spent a lot of time reading stuff on like the Ubuntu forums programming section or whatever, and Freenode and stuff. So they've put a 38-year-old programmer in a 28-year-old's body or something. This is my origin.
How old were you when you were foraging through those forums, which you just mentioned?
I kind of started getting into this stuff when I was like 11-ish, I think.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I went from having, when I was really young, like before then I had my family like I lived in like this cabin that my dad made, and like 'cause my parents are kind of hippies, so we had like no electricity or like running water and stuff. But like I went to school and like went to like my grandparents' houses and like had seen a computer. But then we kind of like moved, and then like I got like a really shitty computer very quickly, like as like a gift. Like there was a thing in like the early 2000s called netbooks, I guess, where they were doing like these really small laptops.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Tablets. Yeah. So I had one of those. And it was horrible, and it ran Windows XP, and it was really slow. And I saw a magazine at the grocery store that was like, "Hey, install Linux. This will make your netbook faster." So I just did this, and then I just have been messing with the thing ever since. Because like I installed Linux, and I had to like, and then Python was installed, and I saw something, people talking about this on some forum, and I was like, well, let's play with that. And then we just like did not stop doing this. What is your programmer origin story, Maya Rainer? How did
my programmer origin story, and I do want to ask you a few questions on yours, but to answer your question first, my programmer origin story was literally PHPBB, like the super old forum system.
Yeah.
I basically like I was also like 12 years old or something, 11 years old also. Or, I don't know, 11 or 12, one of the two, and just also active on forums, and I was like, well, this shit's cool. I want one of those too. And so I set up my own web server, and I installed PHPBB on it, and then I was like, I wanna because I was 12, I wanted to make it my own, and so back then it didn't have like a plugin system or anything like that. What you had instead were like modifications, which were literally text files containing like blocks of code to like copy like into specific parts of the PHPVB code base. And
Yeah.
I've mentioned I was 12, so I was installing like 100 of them, and to the point where there were like a bunch of conflicts in the code, like, multiple extensions wanting to like touch the same piece of code. And so I had to start not just copy pasting, but understanding what I was doing. And so then I was like, well, hold on, this code thing is kind of cool. I can just type text and the computer does what I wanted to do. And so
Yeah.
then I started writing my own PHP code and JavaScript and all that.
That's awesome. That's like the era of, I'm trying to think of like, is it PHP MyAdmin or something? I remember like
the MySQL thing,
putting the one script and then it gives you like the whole SQL interface.
Yeah.
I kind of miss things like this. Like this is like a cool thing that I want in my projects now. I want to be able to like drop in this like nice little page that like gives me a database access and stuff. This is like, man. No, I think this is like, I think probably these days a lot of this stuff people get this exposure through like Minecraft modding or Roblox and stuff. I'm glad that this is still like there, right? There's still like one thing I worry about is like it's kind of nice for like when you're a kid when the computer is like kind of half broken and really clunky because it's like kind of the wires are exposed a little bit more. It's like, okay, I can figure out how this works. I worry that like, when everything's just like super smooth, like, okay, I click the button, I install the app opens, like you don't have these things exposed like exe file or like copying things around, or like I worry this makes it harder to get into for kids. But like, I don't know, probably Roblox is keeping the dream alive or something by making everyone know what Lua is.
Yeah, I mean, you hear a lot that we're like the only generation that was like naturally really good at computers, because like, basically the like older generations like just didn't really have computers in their childhood much, or like very rarely, and like, our generation had computers, but they were kind of like half broken, like you said, and now it's just like, people just have like phones which are very much like, walled gardens, everything just like works, and you don't have to like ever think about it or like try to fix something. You don't really ever have to like, interact with it beyond like just being like a device, like a fridge or something that just works,
Yeah. There's not so much. It's the experience has become more streamlined, which is probably good on the whole, right? But
yeah,
like
for sure.
Something that's lost there maybe a little bit.
But yeah, like you said, there's still like, I think nerds are always gonna nerd, and people are gonna find ways to tinker with things and get into coding one way or another. Yeah.
No, I think the people who are going to get, there's always going to be people who get into it. The more streamlined, but also somehow also still broken in like a not cool way. yeah. This is it. This is it for sure.
Yeah, I mean I'm not gonna say that like, the phones work well or something, but they're just they are harder, like they break by themselves, but they are less easy to break as a person. And like I think it is such a teachable moment when you for the first time start like, say you're like 11, 12 years old, you're on like you're on your Windows computer, and you're like, I wonder what happens if I start deleting files in System32. It's like then you start having to, you like break things yourself, and then you have to fix it. Ideally before your parents find out. That's where you really learn to do computers.
Yeah, you're exposed to way more of the rough edges. Right? This is I think of this in terms of games. Like I remember like I grew up playing like like games on the Game Boy Advance. This is kind of becoming an interest of mine, right? But it's like playing like if you're playing Pokemon on the Game Boy.
Yeah, I
remember
that.
2D games, right? Where you're like locked to a grid and you're walking around. Like I remember learning about like arrays in Python, and I was like, they were like, oh, you can do 2-dimensional arrays and things like this, and I was like, I can do this, right? I can make this game. I know what the of course I didn't really know all the, but like it gives you it's kind of. Especially these older things, they're so much more tied to the limitations of these old computers that I think it makes it, there's more of that kind of that shines through, right? Like it kind of, and it makes it a little more like, I don't know. It feels more accessible, right? Compared to like, if you log in, you're playing League of Legends or whatever. It's like, well, you learn a little bit of programming, and you're like, well, I still have no idea how to make League of Legends. Like,
Yeah,
what the fuck
yeah.
is this, right? Like this, like what is the 3D? What are 3D graphics? What is any of this? But
Yeah, it's like a lot more like maybe not accessible, but a lot more. It's a lot more conceivable to think that like okay, I'm gonna learn how to make this like game that seems like that like maybe a few people worked on, because like it's just not as big of a field yet than like League of Legends, that's been around for over 10 years and has like thousands of people probably working on it. And it's just like you can't possibly think that you could make that yourself.
Yeah. It's like, but if you play a bunch of NES games or something, well, it's like, well, I could maybe make Mario, right? Like, maybe not on an NES, but if I learn how to put some pixels on the screen, and I know a little bit of programming, I could maybe do this. Right?
Yeah.
It's this is accessible to me. Cool.
So you've been daily driving Linux for like a long time now, then?
Yeah, I basically never used Windows. Other than like on a school computer or like in a computer lab or something, and I have it on a VM now to play games sometimes. But I don't. I'm clueless with it, honestly. Like, people ask me for Windows help, and like of course, if you're like the computer person, if you have family, they're always
I know. That's
yeah.
Everyone
It's
who's
like,
like the computer person goes through that, and you kind of have to like start setting boundaries, because otherwise you're just everyone's computer, and everything's your fault if something goes wrong with their computer. So you have to pick your battles
like,
there.
Yeah, I don't know. So it's sometimes I wish I knew a little bit more about Windows, but yeah, I've been on Linux for, I guess, like 16, 17 years now. It's been a minute. I think the first thing I remember installing was like Ubuntu 8.10 or something. The Ubuntu Netbook Edition 8.8, or maybe with 9.4 or something in this era of thing. Are you a Linux person? Oh, sorry, you're going to answer the
I was
exact question I'm going to ask.
Basically, say exactly what you were. My God, what you were asking.
It's so hard to talk to another person sometimes. I'm
right.
I have this thing. I'm terrible at talking on the phone. I talk to somebody and I'm like, there's a silence, then we both talk at the same time, and then it's like, well, no, you go, and it's this is just inevitable. It's how it goes. You'll have to forgive us. This is it's a bit of color in life to have this. I think it's nice.
I mean, at least with me, they're used to it. I don't need another person to stumble over my words all the time, so I can do that all by myself. I can.
yeah, me as well. Like, I can repeat myself 40 times, and I'm always like this. So.
Yeah. So
okay,
I've been.
What were we actually talking about?
Yeah, so I wanted to switch. Like, I've always wanted to switch. I am on Linux now, and I wanted to switch for like a long time, but there was always like something stopping me from doing it. Like, for instance, you mentioned you have to still have a VM for like playing games, and
yeah,
I've never been one to want to like dual boot or something like that, because I am, and I feel like you're probably kind of similar in that I'm a little particular about my system setups. Is that like I don't want to dual boot. I wanted to just kind of like, I want to start up my computer in the morning, have just the system there, like start up my session, and then shut it down in the evening, and not have to do any sort of like rebooting, dual booting, anything of the sort like that.
Yes, for sure. I want it to be pristine. I want it to be
yes,
perfect.
Yes. And so there was always like some.
I imagine Apex is a big, right? Apex has like anti-cheat and stuff.
And it was actually kind of annoying, because like for the longest time it did work on Linux, which was one of the reasons that I was comfortable switching to Linux, because it was like, well, the only game I really play is Apex anyway, and that works on Linux. So like Proton is great. I don't know how much you've done with Proton, but it's like amazing. It works so well.
Yeah. I've kind of missed the whole Proton era, mostly just because I played games on like when I was young. I remember using Wine and like doing Wine stuff to get games to work. But then since I've been for the past 5 or 6 7, I guess, time passing years, I've done this Windows VM thing with like GPU pass through. So I've sort of missed the whole but recently my wife moved to Linux because she was frustrated with Windows 11, like the whole new thing, and so I've been playing with it on her machines a little bit more. She doesn't have the VM setup going on. But it's a really cool thing that they've done this. I feel like it's crazy that you can go and buy like a consumer Linux handheld, right? You could buy a Steam Deck.
The Steam Deck,
like,
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a Linux machine. It runs
Yeah,
KDE.
it's incredible.
Right? It has like, right? It's crazy. It's Valve has done really good stuff.
Yeah, they've been amazing. Like that's, I mean, it's the reason Linux gaming is so good now, because they were like, I mean, they made Proton, right? Like they like forked Wine to make Proton, and it's just like any game that doesn't have like some weird anti-cheat now I can just play. You know, like I can just any game I can just download on Steam and just play it, and it's just incredible.
Yeah, with basically like native performance too,
Yeah,
right? Like it's
better,
like sometimes
often.
better, right? It's great. It's a crazy world that we live in. It's compared to like it's much like I remember like the game I remember trying to run when I was I think it was the first time I ever was trying to like compile software or like apply patches. I remember trying to like download and apply some patch to Wine and build this, because the current build of Wine that I had on Arch or Ubuntu or whatever I was running at the time, probably Ubuntu still, wouldn't run StarCraft 2. So I was like, this is like a very like core memory for me, trying to build Wine and taking me like 10 hours because I didn't know what I was doing.
Did it work?
An idiot child. Yeah, that was the payoff at the end. After like 10 hours of troubleshooting this, I booted it up and it's like the big StarCraft 2 opening cinematic thing, and like it all. Then I played like one time with my friends and didn't I probably played for less time than I spent installing it, but like it was a great thing nonetheless, I think.
IHQ asks, since when does Apex work on Linux? Since I think -1 year or something like that. They like stopped compatibility for it. It used to be, and then they were like, no, we hate Linux now. It is the cause of all of our issues. And then they made up like a fake graph that showed that cheating dropped after they banned it, which like got memed to death by the community. And so I have set up
I think Riot did this also.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, so, Riot did this recently also,
Oh, yeah.
I think. Right? Like,
Yeah,
they used to
true.
be able to run, like, League and
They did,
Valorant
yeah.
on Linux, and they killed it.
Yeah. So I like have an old computer set up in my basement now with Windows on it and a GPU. Like I put my new GPU in it, and I like Moonlight into it, which is like a screen share program. So it's like set up over LAN, and it's actually genuinely surprisingly good performance. Like it barely gives any lag.
Nice, cool. Yeah. No,
So that's how I play weird games like that.
Neat. Yeah, it's good to have at least, I don't know, something like this for compatibility reasons
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
And it's nice to have the option. Cool.
Yeah, so I switched to Linux like 3 years ago or something like that. Which I'm not sure whether I would be on Linux if I hadn't started streaming. It was literally just like I just kept like being annoyed with Windows, and eventually like Lily, who's in chat right now, was like, okay, just get on a Discord call with me, switch to Linux, I will debug your issues with you, and in like a few hours I was on Linux, and it's been so much better since.
Nice. Very nice.
And I'm on Nobara now, which is like a Fedora fork.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't used this, but yeah, everything's mostly the same.
That's true. Yeah.
People worry about this stuff too much. It's yeah.
It's
sorry, please.
It's probably the biggest issue that Linux has right now is that, and it's like one of the things that put me off is that it can feel so overwhelming to like new users, the amount of choices you have. Like, you know, there's like millions of distributions, desktop environments, and you're like, okay, but which one do I choose? I just want an operating system. You know, the nice thing is like when you have like Windows or Mac, it's just like, you know, you use Windows or you use Mac. And when you get to Linux, it's like, shoot, pick one of these like millions of things, and it's like the thing that we need to communicate to like newcomers better, I feel like, is to just pick a desktop environment based on looks, whichever one you like better. Like probably no more KDE, whichever one you prefer, and then just pick a popular distribution. It doesn't matter which one that has that desktop environment. Like it doesn't matter.
People should you just got to do something. Just do something, and then if you don't like it, you can just change it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It just really doesn't matter too much. I think I don't know. Like a thing it's always kind of an irritant to me in both like the Linux stuff and like programming is like people like, you know, like using a thing or not using a thing doesn't make you cool, right? It's not like a thing where it's like, well, I have to make the right choice. What is everyone going to think of me if I don't use Arch or whatever? If I don't use Gentoo or I don't like. It's not how it works, right? Like it's just a tool, right? It's just a thing. You should just pick something that's nice, I think.
This applies to themes too, by the way.
Yeah. To everything, right? And like I don't know. I feel very strongly that like maybe I don't know. Maybe this is weird, but like I think like consuming things like it's just consuming things, or you're just using something. The thing that makes you cool is making things, right? I feel this a lot, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I agree.
It's what you create. It's what you put out, right? It's not what you take in, right? Like listening to a certain kind of music or something. This is not what makes you cool. It's like you making things, right? Making music, doing something like this, producing something. So I've been trying to become a much less like opinionated person about this kind of thing. You know, when you're young, of course, it's always like, well, oh man, I'm cool. I know C++ or whatever, right? Like it's I felt, you know, or you want to feel like a cool hacker or something. I'm trying to move to a position where it's much more like, you know, everything's good. Let's make stuff. Let's make stuff. Let's use what we know and let's learn new things. Let's make stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned like the age thing. Like it takes a while until you're comfortable enough with yourself that you don't have to like identify with like the things that you use and the things that you do and the things that you consume to define your self-worth, basically. And it's like, you know, this is getting very psychological, but it's like
we might be off in the weeds here a little bit. I'm sorry for taking it there, but
it's interesting, right?
It comes up, you know, all the time when people are talking about this kind of thing. Right? It's very like I think the most important thing you can do for yourself like in anything probably is like, you know, one of the most uncomfortable positions to be in is to feel like you have something to prove, right? It's like, oh man, I have to prove that I'm a good, you know, in the context we're talking about, I have to prove that I'm like an elite Linux user. I'm a legendary hacker. I'm the best programmer, right? You have to prove you're trying to demonstrate. I don't know, not even demonstrate your skill, but just like prove that you have the right opinions and the right phrases to say about, oh, I write epic C on art or whatever, right? Whatever people say, right? I think once you can get beyond this, right, then you can start like, you know, this is a good step, right? To move beyond the need to have something to prove to others. And I don't know. We're way off in the weeds. We gotta rewind.
Well, then let me ask you about your current setup, Linux and PCs and stuff like that, because I have an inkling that there's like a lot of going on with your PC setup.
Yeah, it's not super weird. It's I'm on a thing called NixOS, which is like this is Linux. It's based on this thing called Nix, which is a package manager tool guy, right? Similar to like Yum or whatever, or an apt or whatever the things are. And the unique thing about Nix is that it doesn't. They describe it as a functional package manager, which what they mean by this is that it doesn't like mutate global state, I guess, in a way, right? So normally when you have like something like apps or something like, you know, RPM, Yum or Pacman or something like this, what happens when you install something is it goes into like, you know, like kind of predictable directories on your file system, right? Like you install something and like maybe there's libraries going into user lib, there's some binary going into user bin, there's, you know, configuration files going into /etc, and, you know, various other things going to places on your system. And there are kind of how do you say um like there are good things about this, right? Mostly that this is how everything works, right? And things expect things in these standard locations, right? And you can kind of see like, okay, but like there are bad things also, right? So for example, if you want to have two versions of something at the same time, well, you probably need to have some kind of special, like some distros can do this, but like in kind of in limited contexts, right? Where you have to like change the names of things, right? If I want to have two different versions of, say, Python installed, right? Well, I got to make sure that they don't overwrite each other's files, or two different versions of some like C library. I need to make sure that they're called different things and they don't kind of smush each other in the file system. What Nix does instead is everything is kind of installed to its own private little world, right? So it's what Nix kind of does is when you give it like kind of the packages are kind of like instructions in a programming language how to build the package, and Nix kind of takes a hash of these instructions and then stores all of the files that get installed under like this directory /Nix and then the hash and then the actual files underneath there. And then when you have them on your system, like if you'll just have instead of having like user bin stuff, you'll have some directory on your path that can a bunch of symlinks to these things. So the advantage here is that like things you install are totally independent of each other. You can install, I could have, not only can I have Python 2 and Python 3, I could have 100 different versions of Python 2. I could have different copies of the same version with different patches applied. I could have, different commits of, right? I could have any number of these things installed, and I could have different programs that point at all of them, and none of them interfere with each other because they're all like in their own little private world. And the hashing thing is also cool because it means like, because the idea maybe is that like these build instructions always produce the same outcomes, right? I can build something locally on my machine, or I could copy it from like the binaries from the servers that Nix runs, and I can get the same bytes, right? I can get like, it's the same building it locally or building it remotely. I don't know. So it's there are like cool, like, I don't know, it's kind of neat, but it's like, for me, the practical utility is I can work on a bunch of different projects, like on stream or like for my personal stuff or work or whatever else, and they're all totally self-contained, right? Like I don't have to worry like, oh man, this game I was writing a year ago was using SDL, this SDL minor version that then I had to use a different version on this new thing, and there's been a breaking change, and like they're not compatible anymore, and now like what do I had to think, like things don't bit rot as much, right? I can throw like my configuration that says exactly what versions of everything I need in Git, and I know if I'm going to come back, I mean, at least in theory, in a year, I can get the exact same versions of those things, and they're not going to collide with anything else on my system, and they're not going to mess things up for me. So especially like working in a ton of different languages, and like with like oftentimes with like weird old broken things, right? It's nice to have this like kind of isolation of things, so I'm not like installing things globally all the time. Sorry, I just ranted for
No,
like
that was
5
super
minutes
interesting.
about
No,
this.
don't apologize. That was super interesting. So you did say in theory. So how well does that actually work like in practice?
Mostly, but the thing that makes it kind of it's kind of a huge pain in the ass a lot of the time.
Yeah, I figured.
It's not something I would recommend for like someone who's like getting into the thing. It's definitely not something to use because like it does make things cool. Like it does it's be like it is like, damn, this, like when it works it's like, wow, this is crazy good, right? But there is a lot of like just like overhead of like, you need to learn a bunch of shit about Nix, and also a bunch of stuff that you're used to from just using Linux won't work, right?
Oh, really?
And a bunch of things that other people are like any binary you download that's like a Linux binary is not going to work out of the box.
Okay.
Because it's going to be like, oh, I'm looking for,
the standard directory
libSSL.
structure and
I'm
stuff.
looking for OpenSSL.
Yeah.
I'm looking for this. Where is this? And Nix is like, I don't know what that is. Right? You gotta point me to some kind of, right? And there are ways to fix this. There are ways to like, there are plenty of ways, but like until you know those things, and they're not necessarily like, for example, the way I will often run like if I'm doing like a Linux binary, there's a thing in Nix. There's a package you can install called Steam Run. It has nothing to do with Steam. I think this name is purely historical.
Okay.
But what it does is it makes like a ch root. It makes like a fake, almost like container environment that has like symlinks to, like, it has like a proper user lib and stuff set up. And then you can use this to like run a normal binary. But like if you're just getting started, you're not like I don't know. I was not like, you're not gonna be like, oh, of course the solution to this problem is I install steam-run and then I use that, and it's not always gonna work, and and there's just a lot of, it's also extremely disk space intensive, at least.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, it can be, because you're pulling in, I probably have 20 versions of glibc on my system, and right, like there's you get a lot, you tend to be a bit of a disk hog. Yeah.
So it's kind of like node
so
modules if it was an operating system.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea is like it kind of gives you the advantage of a package manager kind of inevitably wants to own the whole world almost, right? Because it's like, so say you're writing something with Node, but then like one of your Node packages needs like native C code somehow, right? Maybe there's some, like, I think this is a thing you can do with Node.
Yeah, you can do like C bindings, yeah.
Yeah, C bindings, right? But then that C code you need depends on the C library suddenly. And now it's like, well, does NPM want to have to manage that C library now? And like, what if that C library has dependencies, right? Does NPM suddenly have to manage all of these C dependencies, right? So there's sort of a natural tendency where it's like a package manager wants to own the whole thing. Right? It wants to be able to. It wants to be language agnostic and control the whole world. And Nix is that, right?
Okay.
Nix is, yeah. And it also, like, it kind of is that, and it lets you do Docker-ish things too, right? It kind of has that nature to it as well. It makes it the Nix OS stuff at least makes it very easy. You can kind of describe services in a declarative way, and like firewall configurations, and like how things can talk to each other. So for me, the other advantage has been like, I have a bunch of servers and like personal machines, and I can just like, instead of having to remember all of the changes I've made to all of them, and if one crashes, like recreate this somehow and edit all these config files, I just have it all written in one file, or like, one Git repo basically that describes all my computers. I can rebuild any of them and install new software just from my desktop. And if one of them goes down, I can like just recreate it, like basically, in like very quickly with all of its configuration. So in general, like this is it gives you a lot of like this non-interference between software, and also like easily reproducing things and making sure they work the same way all the time. But then the disadvantage is that it's a big pain, kind of, and you have to learn this weird programming language, and like the documentation is really bad, and nothing that you're used to from Linux works, and everything is broken all the time, and you try and run something.
Sounds great.
You try to run some simple command, and it downloads 1.5 gigabytes of dependencies because it's some different version of like some tiny library that has it's a whole thing. But like,
so do you have to sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, please continue. I'm just.
Do you have to like are you like really reliant on like their repos and like the stuff that exists in like their like, where does it source dependencies from? You know what I mean?
So it has its own like central like repository called Nix packages. It's not like inherently tied to this, but Nix packages is like, it's huge. I think it's like the repository on GitHub that has the most commits or something. It's really, really big, and also like it's very active, I guess, right? So most most software is in there, but like I do, like a lot of the time I'm like packaging my own things and like making other things that I write dependent on my own things. So I do end up writing a fair amount of configuration, like, and of course, inevitably using software, right? Is like, well, I want to install this thing, but I need to patch it, or like I want a different version, and like this kind of always demands a little bit of stuff, a little bit of legwork.
Scythe said, so this guy ranted about people wanting to be cool hackers, and now he says he's using Nix because it's cool. To be fair, those two things were said in very different contexts. Like, there's a difference between.
Okay.
You say it. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's thinking I'm not cool. I'm a big dork, right? There's a difference between thinking, and the thing, Nix is cool though. The thing is cool. I'm not cool. I'm not cool for using it. They're cool for making it, I guess, is what I would say. Also, hello. I see we have I didn't realize. Hello, A squared. A squared is a friend of mine on here. I didn't realize. I think.
Hello, A squared.
Lillian Ruby Rose knows them too. Hello, hi, hello. Sorry, I'm being a weirdo.
Well, if you weren't a weirdo, you wouldn't be here. So.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is an inherent. I don't know about you. I think one of my bad habits is I'm very I think I'll see a person in chat and I'm like, oh hi, like I think I'm a little too I come on a little too strong to people in chat.
I don't think
I'm
so at all.
I see them and I'm instantly like, hello, you are now my best friend. You are now my best friend.
I love
Let's
that.
Talk. Oh, and then she is part. Oh, hello. Oh, this is. Whoa, lower drop.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Hello.
I mean, I knew that, but I didn't want to, I felt like it wasn't my place to, give that away. I know, Lily, I know. Well, you think I don't pay attention when you tell me things, Lily? Come on. But yeah, I think it's even okay to, I mean, there's nothing wrong with, thinking you're cool because you use something. The problem arises when you think other people aren't cool for using the thing. That's when you, because you.
Yeah, this is probably it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a little too much. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. I think this is it. I think it's just people get a little bit. What is the expression that young people use? They say lost in the. When you say lost in the sauce? Can you say this and it doesn't mean being? I think I say this when people are just. I think I say this to mean confused, but I think it actually means drunk.
I think it means confused. I mean, I don't know. I'm also too old.
Yeah, is lost in the sauce
we're two old people chatting about what the youngins say these days.
Yes. This is wild. How about people being uncool for not using my thing? I mean, this is fine. This is a marketing position. This is a powerful marketing tactic. Getting too deep into something and completely lost. Yes, I think this is perhaps an appropriate usage.
Yeah, but it's still confused, right? So I mean, it's
Yeah. You can't be getting lost in the sauce regarding this sort of thing. It's probably fine either way. Where were we even? Man, I've really driven this train straight off the rails. I think.
Having worked with Ruby for way too long, I'm very happy when things aren't on rails. I have been on rails for too much. It's have you used Ruby on Rails? It's whew,
I have never used Rails.
Be grateful.
Yeah, I'm afraid the limit of my Ruby exposure has been. I remember reading there was this. What's the thing? I think it's called Wise Poignant Guide to Ruby. This was a thing on the internet a long time ago. This guy made a bunch of comics, this comic guide that actually taught Ruby. And I remember reading this and I thought it was pretty funny. And then this is the extent of my exposure.
I feel like the issue with Ruby and Rails specifically is that they're so obsessed with making code read like English, which I feel is just.
Yeah.
It is the same wrong approach that UML uses, which is trying to make code understandable for people who shouldn't need to understand the code. It doesn't. Yeah. You're never going to make a random executive understand code to the extent that they can reason about it. It's also not their job. It doesn't make sense. So. I don't know how you specifically feel about UML. I personally think it's the most useless thing in the world, and it's just.
I hate that shit. I hate all that stuff. No, I don't know. It's probably whatever. I would prefer not to use it.
Yeah.
If I could avoid it. I guess let's say.
Oh, you almost voiced an opinion there, huh?
Yeah, almost. You almost got one. Don't look at Inform. I mean, Inform 7 has the other advantage of being cool though. Inform 7 is kind of Inform 7. I don't know if you're familiar.
I gotta look that up. Inform 7. Hold on.
Inform is a language for writing text adventures, basically, or
fiction.
And it is a really neat system. It's but it is also focused on being kind of English-like. But I know, I guess I don't know. It's sort of fitting, right? The domain there where you're like trying to make things that are also English. I don't know. It's cool. I think it's it does the job for its niche. But
yeah, I've never seen this before. So this is like a A game making thing, basically, the Inform 7
Yeah,
thing.
for
Okay.
text games, right?
Okay.
For games where it's like, okay, pick up, fork,
Mm-hmm.
go north, right? Like this kind of stuff. Parser interactive fiction.
Okay.
Um,
And it like reads a
Yeah.
lot like English, basically.
yeah, it has
Okay.
has an English like aspect.
Got it.
But it's cool, especially if you're like, I think the Inform 6 documentation especially is like a super good read, even if you're like, I don't know, the people who the I think the guy who makes this is this guy Graham Nelson, who is big person in like text games, and also
I feel like I've heard that name before.
is this actually the guy's name, or am I saying like some random? Watch,
Like, it
turns out by
sounds
accident
familiar
I'm
to me, so
saying,
you
like,
might be saying the actual person's name, or it's like,
I'm saying the name of like the most evil person alive. No, this is the guy, Graham Nelson.
Okay, let me Google
he,
that
like,
too.
So text games are really cool because a lot of the early text games like Zork, etc., were
Mm-hmm.
like made / published by this company called Infocom.
Okay.
And they did like the way they published them and like ported them to lots of machines is they basically did like an early Java, right? They
Mhm.
made their own VM called the Z Machine.
Really? Okay.
Like after Zork, and then all the games were written targeting this Z Machine thing.
Mhm.
And then they would just port the VM to all the different platforms. that
Oh,
they-
okay.
And this is like way back. This is like in the 80s, I think.
Like back when you had to like
and,
compile for like all the different processors specifically, right? Because they didn't have
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
super clearly defined
Right.
architectures yet.
So I think this really helped their portability, and like
Mm-hmm.
but all of this was like private. But then Graham Nelson, I think, was the person who like first reverse engineered like the Z Machine and like made his own compiler for this, and then started making like after Infocom had kind of like crumbled a little bit into dust, like actually started releasing like he released this game called Curses, which is like one of the first like high quality like indie interactive fiction things. And then built on these tools that he had made targeting the Z Machine. And now I think Inform is similar. Inform can like output these Z Machine binaries.
Oh, okay. So
and
it's
still
like
kind of a
still
cool
like in
thing,
use
right?
basically.
Yeah, like
Wow.
of course, like when people are trying to play this stuff, they're mostly trying to play things that they're nostalgic for.
Oh yeah,
from
that's fair.
whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
Yeah.
it's cool because the games are super portable, right?
Mhm.
You can easily run like Zork or Enchanter or things like this on your phone or on
Oh, that's
on the
cool.
web, right? Or I think there's an Emacs port.
Of course there is.
this. Yeah, but like it's a neat thing. It's made these old games remain very accessible.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a cool story.
But yeah, like the issue with Ruby is that kind of like, because it tries to read like English so much, it basically does so much magical nonsense behind the scenes, and it's like, you can look at like a line of code and have no idea what it does, which is also why like you get like super bad autocomplete, because it's like, okay, you're literally just writing random words, and then it's like, okay, it just does text lookups and like random shit, and it's like tries to somehow, and like you can monkey patch everything, and it's like just crazy, and it makes
really
it
hard to parse.
I
too.
personally am like a huge fan of like strict typing and just everything being because I feel like static checking like really works in your favor. Like I don't get it at all when people are like, oh, it takes so much longer to do it though, but I feel like it just saves you so much time when the compiler like helps you.
I broadly agree. I'm a types person, big time, coming from Haskell and stuff like this. And I think I also never really understand like the dynamic types, right? It makes you so much like, this is so freeing, right? It lets
Yeah.
you like I have never had this experience.
Me
at
too,
all,
me too.
Right? I find that right? Like, what does it free you?
Yeah, I've never wanted to be like, oh, okay, let me assign a string to this variable and then a number. Freedom, it's like
Yeah.
I've never been like, okay, I need
Yeah.
to do this right now. It's like just define another variable. It's like, why do I need things to be dynamically typed? Like, what does it help? I just don't really.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think really a lot of this stuff is like people have an impression of type systems coming from like C or something, right? And like so I feel like what people like, they're really like, when they're comparing this, they're really comparing like, well, I didn't like writing type signatures in C or something.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be this way, right? Like there are like something like Haskell or OCaml or Rust, right? Like it's like, I really feel like this limits you basically not like of course like the idea behind the type system is to prevent you from making errors, right?
But that's a good thing.
It's all like it's like you're kind of like the way it ends up being, right, is like you're putting the straight jacket on a little bit, right, and then like you kind of get these more powerful type systems, and you're maybe relaxing it a little bit, but you're still prevented from making errors, right? Like I think, but like I don't know, people have a lot of weird ideas about types. I think really like, you know, people like should write a little OCaml or something, write a little bit of this, and then get a feeling for like how it could be, and like I think you lose like there's I think that will happen a lot with things like people, you know, it doesn't always have to be a trade-off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. Yeah.
Not everything has to be an even trade-off. Like even I really feel like types are like a
net positive.
It's like an easy win.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like well, I feel like you lose very little.
Yeah, I agree.
This. I mean, there are
if they're done well, at
arguments
least.
the other direction. Yeah. But I don't know how much I like. Yeah.
Because like you do need like a compiler that's like, you
call.
know, helping you with type inference and things like that. You know, like I feel like for instance Rust is very good about that. It's like you rarely have to specify the actual type just because it's like it can just like infer it, and it's just like it's not like I think C is like that still, where you have to like, you know, specify every type like explicitly, like old Java or something, where you just have to write every like I get that gets kind of annoying if you just have to like write it down explicitly probably, everywhere.
Like, when people say they don't like static, it's probably a lot of like they don't like that, right? This is the exposure to this. They don't like this thing. I think there are some like, you know, like there are some advantages of like there are like some real advantages of dynamic types and this kind of thing. I know the Rich Hickey, like the closure guy, like has a bunch of talks about this, and like I think a lot of it comes from like it sometimes is nice to have like very natural, easy to use heterogeneous data structures, right? Like Lisp does this a lot, right? Lisp is very into like building things out of like the same Lisp types, and like, building trees and stuff out of this, and like having, but you can also get this in like, you know, this is just a matter like in Haskell, this is easy too, right? Like you can have heterogeneous data, you just have to have like, I mean, it can be a little more cumbersome to use, right? So I think I can see it for some domains, but like it really is much less of a trade-off than people think it is, right? It's like it's
I
just
think
like
for like scripting things that you specifically want to not be compiled, it kind of makes sense, you know, or like things where like you just want to like prototype super quickly and not think about it. But even then, like even for prototype, it's like
right?
it just doesn't slow you really down, right? So it's like I just don't.
You have a type in your head anyway, right? There's a type in your head.
Yeah, exactly.
If there's not a type in your head, you're just going to make errors, right? Like there's a type in your head, and like
maybe that's it. Maybe there's not a type in their head, and so that's why they, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting thing, but I think it's, you know, like all things, people, it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
But it's I think they're really good.
Like for instance, like when I write TypeScript, I have like, you know, I crank the linter up all the way, like, you know, disable any sort of interaction with it, just like as strict as possible, just completely disallow any sort of unsafe behavior.
Yeah, I'm very interested in general in like analysis tools. I think this is a really powerful thing that we can do, right? Like if you can have the computer like in like kind of a automatic or formal way understand more about your code before you're running it, right? Like I think this is super valuable, and like the more things are structured to facilitate this, I agree. I like this more, right? I like things that are. This has been a big thing that's drawn me to Lisp a lot. Something I really like about Lisp is how parsable it is. This is really good, right? I like this kind of thing. And like on the other hand, right, something like Ruby or like I know this is a thing about like Perl, right? This is like Perl. Like I think to parse Perl, you have to like run Perl code. Like it's very tricky to like write any sort of analysis tool for Perl.
Perl looks similar to PHP, right? I think like I think the PHP like, syntax was based on Perl or something like that, right?
Probably. Perl's very flexible though, and also has a lot of like that kind of magic stuff. I'm fond of Perl, honestly. Like I don't like, I'm not a Perl hater at all. But it's definitely, it has like it's very like malleable, right? It's very like there's a lot of different ways you like. One of the core things about like the Perl philosophy is like there's more than one way to do it. It's very like it's a very like human language almost, right? It's very like it's like things that the creator thought was cool and like I don't know. It's kind of charming in a way, in the same way that I think Ruby is, but it's you know, it's annoying in the sense that, you know, it's hard to like build on top of that. It's hard to like build Perl tools maybe and things like this.
A Squared
Like
says,
C++.
I really don't like that TS is structurally typed rather than nominally typed, but it is a very powerful type system otherwise. I mean, I feel like with like the way TypeScript is set up with like the, you know, the incremental typing, the like
yeah, the gradual typing.
the like superset of, I don't think you could really do nominal typing with that kind of thing. Like you would, yeah, it needs to be exactly.
Yeah.
I get why you don't like it, but like being what it is, it needs to be. Yeah.
This is why A Squared should write pure script. This is why if you when you hop on the web, you should write a little bit of pure scripts.
A little bit of what script?
And then you can have nominal types, and then you have funny objects as well with row typing.
Did you say pure script or?
Pure script. Pure script is like Haskell that builds to JavaScript.
Oh wow! Oh, that looks crazy.
Very,
oh my god, that looks crazy.
Yeah, it looks just like Haskell.
Yeah, I've never written. I should really try Haskell sometime. I have never had the pleasure, but I should try it sometime.
Yeah. The kind of the core selling point of Haskell and also Pure is very, very, very powerful type system, strong static typing. Right? This is the kind of thing, and very controlled side effects. So I think in the web zone, I mean, there's also Elm. Elm is another one that is probably more popular, but like also a Haskellish thing that builds to JavaScript for web front end kind of stuff. But of course, it doesn't have the TypeScript advantage of being like, you know, comprehensible to people who know JIT. Like, right, it's a very different language.
I take it doesn't have nearly as simple interop with JavaScript as TypeScript does either. PureScript.
No, yeah, you have to like, you have to like. I mean, you could just call JavaScript functions. There's like an FFI thing, but you still have to like, you know, it's a little heavier. Right?
Yeah,
you have
I figured.
Like, actually say like, okay, I have this function. Here's the type of the thing, and there's like a little more back and forth you have to do. So.
Colon
Q.
No, you cannot make PureScript a thing.
yeah, I don't know. I used to write this a lot more. I don't do very much web stuff these days, and when I do, I still have a lot of my stuff written in this. It's kind of, you know, it's a little annoying to use. Just because of what you said, it's sort of annoying to do. Like the interop is a little trickier, and you have to write a bunch of stuff for all of like your DOM interaction. Like there's various libraries and things, but it's not like it's a huge language that tons of people are using. So it's but I'm fond of this still. I'm fond of this.
Alias Dolan says, I don't think a new programmer should start with JavaScript though, or any language that holds your hand along the way. To be honest, I strongly disagree with that. I think JavaScript is like one of the best starting languages. I think when you're first starting out, it's like so good to have a language that like helps you achieve successes quickly, because it doesn't really matter to like do it right or like to worry about like the internals of what's happening behind the scenes or anything like that. I think like when you're first starting out, what you want to do is like just make the computer do stuff, you know, like basically like what I mentioned before when I first started with PHP. Yeah. I think it is so satisfying when you're starting out to like make small changes and just see, like, experience for the first time I know this sounds like dumb, but like experience the joy of your computer doing stuff good. Because you told it to, you know? It's like that.
Yeah, no. I think that the thing people should learn first is just like whatever makes you program.
Yeah,
whatever
exactly.
you will use, right? Like you can be like, right, this is what matters, right? People are not going to be corrupted. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like people by learning something, right? Learning something, like I feel very strongly that learning something is a strict positive, almost, right?
Yeah.
Like of course there's like, you know, sometimes you learn bad habits and things, but I think this is very overstated. I think you should learn like the choice is not necessarily between like I'm going to learn JavaScript or I'm going to learn what's the alternative? I'm going to learn hardcore. I'm going to learn C. I'm going to learn C, and I'm going to write the choice is between I'm going to learn for probably most people it's I'm going to learn JavaScript to write the website, or I'm going to learn Lua to write the Roblox thing, or I'm gonna fuck around with Kotlin to write the Minecraft mod, or I'm not going to do anything, right? It's a choice between like you can't like there's sometimes the like I don't know, the perceived perfect can be the enemy of the good. I don't even think it is necessarily perfect, but it's just like you have to do something, right?
Yeah. Be
motivated to do something, and the way you're going to do that is like often like the most accessible thing that like attends to something you actually think is cool and that you need.
Exactly.
It's going to give you results and allow you to like, yeah.
Like I complain about like education and stuff like that a lot, but I really hate how like universities and stuff will have people start with and like with the reasoning of like, oh you have to learn to do it right. If you don't start with the basics, you'll never learn how to do it right. And I feel like it's just such an unfun approach to it.
Who knows what right is?
Yeah, true.
No one knows. We are still, I think, like computer programming is such a young discipline, and it's still so unformed, and it's still so like and nobody knows yet. Maybe we won't know for another 200 years, right? We don't know how to do it right yet. We don't even know what right looks like, or what it means, or what the appropriate trade-offs are, or like what in terms like I mean people know how to program, but in terms of like engineering practice, or like what best practices and what is best, like these are formless still. I think I have this opinion, right? Things are in flux, and like the only thing you can do to deal with this is just learn a bunch of things and kind of develop some kind of taste or
and have fun ideally.
Yeah, and have fun and get into it, right? And like be ready to learn. I think
there's like we talk about this a lot, like with when people bring up like clean code practices and stuff like that, where it's like what even is clean code? Like how are you gonna say this is the only way to write code that is like clean, and like you have to do it this way or else? And it's like I feel like that is just sucks the fun right out of it to approach it that way, like just let people write their code, like especially when they're starting out. It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter if it's like when I first wrote code, I did it in Notepad with 0 alignment. I didn't know that PHP had an ability to display errors. I thought it was normal that when you had a syntax error, all you got was a blank page, and I had fun.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing it right by any metric, but I had fun.
Yeah. I think Elliot Solon says they can be argued upon, but you see a lot of junior devs getting laid off. Yeah, I mean jobs are a different story. I mean most people like, I don't know. I think like, maybe this is strange. Like there's I think there's like how do you say this? Maybe this is weird to say, but like
say something weird. Do it.
Like a lot of people like. A lot of people get into this to get a job, and this is fine. There are good jobs in this, right? It's a well-paid thing or whatever. But like, to some extent, like, it's kind of a hard thing to do if you don't like it.
Yeah. No,
I think, right?
I think the period of people being able to get into it for the money was brief, and honestly, it's over because like the field is kind of shrinking, right? Like with AI and stuff like that, like it boomed so hard, like a couple of years ago, and like everyone got into it, and like everyone was told, oh, get into programming, it's like the next big thing, and there's so much money in it. But like realistically, the people who are getting laid off and who are struggling with it are on average those who don't enjoy it, because I feel like if you enjoy it, then it's going to give you so much more motivation to do it, because you're gonna do it in your free time. You're gonna do it, you're not just gonna force yourself to do it, you're just gonna do it because it's like your favorite thing.
Yeah, you'll build this understanding, like much like it comes for free, right? You'll get this like you'll get data structures and algorithms knowledge. You'll get like whatever thing you need because it's useful and it's fun and it's exciting, right? This will just happen over time. But I think it's like, in terms of like so I guess always my like if I'm going to like give someone advice, right? I guess I have to couch this right with like. I don't know what the fuck you should do to get a job. I don't know, right? Like you want to, figure something out. Who knows? Who knows about this, right? In terms of employment, in terms of like knowing more about the computer and finding more fun in it and learning. You know, this is what I would like to talk about. And because I don't know anything about being employed. I was a TA for when I was, you know, in school. I kind of did like an undergraduate TA thing where I, like, you know, help people in lab sections and like did grading and stuff for basically the entire time I was in university. So like 3.5 years or something.
Did you? Sorry, can I ask? Did you complete your degree, or did you like drop out with like 3.5 years?
Oh no, I mean I didn't do it the first semester, but after that they were like, okay, you know what you're doing, so you can help us. I did my college experiences. I did a bachelor's degree in 3 years, and then I did another year I did 1 year of a PhD, and I did an internship over the summer, and I dropped out of my PhD to go work at the company I got an internship at.
Makes sense.
That's probably pretty typical. But the like most people like. I don't know. I don't like to talk negatively about this. Most people who graduating from college in computer science do not know how to program.
That's true.
Right?
That is true.
They don't, right? They just don't, right? This is not like a mark of disparagement against them, right?
I think it's a mark of disparagement against universities, honestly.
Yes. I think in terms of actually, like, you know, learning things, right? Like, you go to a computer science program, and I think you know, I had a good time in university. I had a great time. I came in with a lot of, you know, I've been programming for, you know, probably 6 years already. Like I had a good amount of experience, and I feel like I really shored up a lot of my understanding about things, right? I feel like I came out like, man, I have a better understanding of some algorithms. I know a little bit more about some stuff now. I've been exposed to some new things. It probably wasn't worth 4 years of time, right?
Yeah.
But it was. But I saw other people like come out of this, and like you certainly, like, the way you learn how to program is by programming.
Yeah,
a lot,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
University is not very good. I mean, at least the university that I went to, and like probably most, I imagine many, are not very good at like getting you to program a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you do some homework assignments that are very contrived, right? You do some, you know, and you maybe pick up, you know, and like you maybe learn a little bit about like data structures and algorithms, but it's going to be entirely unmotivated, right? Like the reason why that stuff is useful, it's like, well, I learned about, like, I don't know, some little algorithm, and it's like, oh, well, this is useful in this. Well, I wrote this little game a year ago, and wow, that would have been really useful there, right? So now you like remember this, right? It's like, well, oh, I know how to do pathfinding now. Maybe I know about Dijkstra search or something, right? Like you know a little bit more about things, and it's motivated because it's something you'll actually use. But I can imagine if you're not programming, all this stuff is just going to be arcane bullshit, right? Like, why would you? Okay, why do I have to know about what a minimum spanning tree is? Like, this is what is this, right? Get this. You're gonna forget this in one day.
Exactly. Like if you don't apply it, you just forget it. And I say this a lot, but I think the one thing that really shows off how crazy this whole system is with universities is that you spend, I don't know, like 5 years, 6 years going to university, getting a master's degree, only to be just about qualified for a junior position. And so I ask you, what value has the university delivered if they give you a master's degree that barely qualifies you for a junior position? That makes absolutely no sense.
If I was, you know, if I had skin in the game, if I was running a company, this is maybe cruel, but I would value having a degree 0. I would weight this
same.
0.
Yeah.
I would the entire thing. I'm convinced. Maybe this is like, you know, egotistical or something. I'm convinced that like far more valuable than requiring a degree, it would be talking to the person for 5
completely
minutes.
Agree. Completely agree.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, you can talk to someone for 5 minutes and get a sense of, okay, can this person kind of know what they're talking about a little bit, or not, right? You can, and like, yeah, I think really they like. I would weight it so, you know, it's not evidence that,
Exactly. No, it's like not evidence of it. It's evidence that they spend a few years doing it. Like, not to like disparage like degree holders, but it's like, you know, it's just it just doesn't mean anything. It's like people just get waved through, and it's such a shame. And like the issue is just like, you know, you can't even fault these people because it's like, okay, so many companies require degrees, so it's like, kind
Yeah,
of
you have to do it.
you
right?
have
Like,
to do it
if you want a job.
exactly. But then it's like, realistically, when you think about it, like programming isn't like an academic exercise; it's a trade. So really, you should be going to
Yes.
to a trade school for it. When
Yes.
it should be taught practically, not theoretically.
I think so, and I think, of course, there's some theoretical basis that you need to understand in order to perform the trade, right? But there's
I don't
also
think you do.
like,
you need to. Like, I mean, just stuff that you
but
pick up, right?
It's useful background, and you do pick these things up. But it is sometimes nice to have some level of like experience with that, like mostly algorithm stuff, right? But like, there's also like you have this if you're a plumber, right? If you're a plumber, you need to understand a lot of things, right? You need to understand pressure,
Of course,
right?
yeah.
All these, right? Like yeah. I think another thing I think of a lot, right, is like programming has like an insane image, right? Where like everyone wants it to be like this thing where it's like, man, I'm like this genius mathematician. I know it's like it has this like this intellectual reputation. It's really not this.
No, it's
right?
not. And it shouldn't be. It doesn't make sense for it to be.
It can be extremely like work. It's like a, I don't know. It's a trade, like you said. It's something that it's yeah. You're yeah. Even and like and this is not disparaging, and it's not like, oh well, of course, well you're just connecting the libraries to, no, like it's all like this, right?
Yeah.
Like writing embedded systems, like it's all like this, right? It can be a trade. It doesn't have to be a like this. Oh, I'm a genius academic.
Yeah.
I have
and just like the whole approach of like having to perfectly understand every single component, like you have to understand how C works and how like the libraries. No, you don't. Like as long as you produce like functional output, it doesn't like matter whether you don't need to understand every single line of code in every library that you're using or stuff like that. What matters is you give it an input, you get an output. As long as you understand that, that's fine. You don't need to know how to implement quicksort to be allowed to sort an array, I don't know how to implement quicksort. I've been in the field for like almost 20 years and I don't understand, or like in the field for like 10 years and I don't know how to write quicksort because it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I would say all of this is extremely true, with the caveat that it is fun to understand.
Oh yeah. But it should be like for fun, not like you.
Yeah.
It's like, it should be like
people.
Like you said, like it should be for fun, not like you have to understand it or else you're not allowed to be a programmer,
Yeah, you should just program. People should just program more, and not worry about it. Not worry about it so much. I think yeah. What Remblock says is true. Yeah, I think I found this experience to be true also, right? Like it was like useful coming in with some existing background, right? But then beyond this, like, I don't know. I think yeah, you just gotta program. Don't worry about certifications. Don't worry about like, just program a bunch.
I agree. Yeah. Remblank says, I saw a video recently from someone who advocates for higher education, and they described higher education in general by calling it an experience multiplier. It can be very useful, but 0 multiplied by anything only results in 0. I don't even know that it is an experience multiplier, though. I mean, it's like, sure, you spend years learning this stuff, but it's like, if you spend those years programming, like actually like doing the thing, wouldn't you understand even more? It's like, sure, it like proves that you've spent a certain amount of time interacting with the subject matter, but it's just not efficient, it's not an efficient way of interacting with it. Because like if you...
I think there's some...
Go ahead.
Sorry, please.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think there's some benefit to being pushed outside of your comfort zone, right?
I agree, yeah.
To do things that are like, well, I wouldn't do this normally, because it's like I find this myself, right? Like I like, so I have to like force myself sometimes to be like, okay, we're going to learn something new, right? Because it's easy to like fall into like the bag of tricks that you know, right?
That's true.
Like I kind of view it like this almost, where there's like a an area, there's like a big map, right? And there's like an area of things that it's like I feel like I'm in control of, where it's like I know how to do this, right? I'm not going to have to like maybe I have to look some stuff up, but I know the approach here, right? And there's like areas kind of on the fringes where it's like, well, I don't really know, but I kind of know how I would maybe go about this, right? These are like real, like, concrete things. Like, how would I do 3D animation, right? How would I do, like, like, I don't know, collision detection between some shapes or something.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of know how to do some things, right? I know how to like determine like, spheres and things like this, right? More complex things, it's gonna be like, how do like, if I'm trying to like collide like an arbitrary polygon against some other arbitrary polygon, it's like, well, I'm probably gonna have to do a bunch of reading here, but I kind of still have a basic idea. And then there's like things beyond this where it's like I don't even know where to start, right? I'm not even close enough to this yet where I have a feeling for like how to really get there. And sometimes to expand into those areas, like it can feel uncomfortable because it's like, well, now I'm kind of flying blind. I have to really learn a bunch of new stuff to be effective here. But I think forcing yourself to do this sometimes is good. And I think university provides this a little bit, right? Where it's like, well, would you really dig into all of these things? And like there are things that like it can be useful to know even if it's like not obviously immediately useful, because it's like having a bunch of just like latent background knowledge can be nice because it like helps you draw connections in the future between things. When like you might not otherwise have even thought to like look something up. So I think there is utility to this, at least in my opinion. But like
Yeah, the problem isn't really
it's
with
not gonna
what's
teach-
being taught, it's with how it's being taught. Just like the focus
how,
on
yeah,
theory over practice, because like we've said, there's like
Yeah.
you can hear things like over and over, and as long as you don't like actually apply them, it's not gonna stick.
Yeah, I think there's yeah, and really like a lot of it is like, again, like as you said, the mismatch between people using like a computer science course, right? Like really what like if you go to a computer science university course, like computer science is like a pretty abstract thing, right? It's like something, it's like a branch of math, right? Branch of pure math, right? You're studying like these mathematical objects. It's very abstracted, right? But people these courses are used as a trade program, basically, as like a learning how to write software practically, right?
Yeah.
So having this distinction be it, because I think there's certainly a place to study the theory, right? But and like just like there's a place to study pure math, but I think there's like most people are not interested, like that's not what most people are going there for, right? And that's not what it's kind of used for in practice. So like this mismatch creates a little bit of friction, I think.
Plus is saying, ask Alcohol Q about the DOT is he interpreting. I don't really know what that means. Maybe you know what that means.
What is the DOT? Hello, plus R27 underscore. What is this?
What is the DOT?
What is the
dot.
DOT? The dots?
I'm assuming it's not the
I'm trying to
damage
think
over
what
time.
this-
That's the only data I know.
It could be damage over time. We could be sustaining major damage ticks.
The GCP dot.
Oh, the GCP dot. Oh, yes. This is the thing. I don't know if you know about this. This is kind of crazy. There's this thing called the Global Consciousness Project dots. That is this website. It is kind of crazy. I don't know where this comes from. It's like a weird project where they like sample random numbers around the world and they try and use this for some sort of like parapsychological thing, like where they're trying to like make some sort of inference about like ESP, or I think this is what it's supposed to be. I don't really know what the lore is. It's like
Hold on. Okay,
essentially
I'm like trying to process what I'm seeing right now.
yes.
It collects random numbers from around, like pseudo random numbers, I'm assuming. Like how does
I don't actually know how they are. I assume they are based. I would hope they are not pseudo random numbers. I would hope they are based on some kind of external entropy source. But I don't know. I think this is basically fake, right?
Yeah, I mean it's just stupid, right? Because it just depends on the source of randomness.
Yeah. It's like kind of cool, right? And it's been around for a while. So like we have this
Never
thing
seen this.
where like we have things that read this from their API. So we also own a website that see, here's my website. Is the
Oh, this is amazing.
yeah, we have this little guy, Mr. Green, that's kind of become it's kind of like our mascot. We have this like little, I don't know, it's a little group we have. I don't know, it's complicated, but we have different versions of this based on more accurate random data collection, clearly. Yeah.
Significantly horrendous vibrations, just horrendous.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? It's we do things like this. When people ask me what I'm making, it's like, well, we're making things like this most of the time. This is unique because it's made. It's also kind of a big advantage of Nix. Nix basically makes this. It's written in a language called Factor,
Mm-hmm.
which you may be familiar with. I don't know. It's Factor is like a. It's kind of like Forth. I don't know if you've ever written any Forth.
No,
Where
I
Forth
haven't.
is a it's a stack-based language. Rather than using like temporary or like local variables, everything is just there's like a exposed like parameter stack
Okay.
basically. Um, so like for example, if you wanted to add add two numbers and then multiply by another number, right? You would write. Am I focused on? You would write like this, right? And that would be to say add 1 and 2 and then multiply the result by 3, right? It's kind of
Oh,
like,
that's
well,
crazy. Okay.
writing
Mm-hmm.
writing 1 pushes 1 to, and everything's like this, right?
Okay.
Control flow is like everything is like this. The entire language is just like, well, there's this thing, it pops some things off the stack and then
Mm-hmm.
performs some operation, maybe pushes some things in the stack. And there's a like it turns out this paradigm is kind of similar to like Forth traditionally is like a thing that's very easy to implement and like, but also gives you like some semblance of high-level programming. So like you could write a Forth pretty easily in assembly and then use the Forth like as like your operating system almost, on like an embedded system or like some small thing. But people sort of realize that like this is kind of like almost like it kind of has like a nice functional nature as well. It kind of resembles a lot like if you're writing like something in Haskell where you're like composing a long chain of functions. Which is a common Haskell thing to do. It's kind of similar to this, right? It's almost like one. You can kind of think of this as a composition of a bunch of functions, where like one is a function that takes a stack and pushes 1 to the stack and return. Like you can think of everything as like a function from a stack to another stack, and then the program is like a bunch of like these functions all like composed together, right?
That's true. Yeah.
And so there's this language called Factor. Can we get this? Which kind of does Forthy things, but it does them in like it's a much higher level, right? It's focused on like doing web stuff and has like a nice compiler and things like this. Yeah, we love state transitions, right? So we wrote this GCP website in Factor, and it was kind of unpleasant to write because I'm not very familiar with this. But
Yeah, I've never seen this either.
Nix basically.
Oh, it looks crazy. Wow.
Nix basically. Yeah, it does look crazy, right? It's not something that you would be used to, like.
Not at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is something we're trying to explore a lot, like on these weird like fringe languages that really because there are a lot of things you write, like you roll up. It's like I'm writing going from writing JavaScript to writing C# to writing Rust or whatever. It's all very similar, right? You kind of get the basic.
Yeah,
gist.
of course. They're
These
all
are,
like C-like
algol-
languages, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah, C-like languages, right?
And then you have this,
even
which is
things that
like
don't
very
look
much
like
not
C.
C-like.
Yeah. There are things that don't look like C, like Lisp or something, but even writing Lisp still like if you sit down and write like common Lisp or Scheme, like it feels like writing JavaScript, right?
Yeah.
It feels the same. The syntax is a little bit weird, but like you get used to this in like an hour, right? And the feeling of the language is the same. So something I've been trying to explore is like languages where the feeling is very different. Right?
Okay.
So the actual like the way you have to think is different. So like Haskell is kind of like this, right? But it's not so far, but it's sort of like this in the sense that like the pure functional thing gives you a little bit of this. Something like Prolog also is really like this. Writing Prolog, you have to think in a really different way. Forth and Factor and these sorts of things are very different. And the kind of the last frontier for me, the ones that I'm really uncomfortable with, that I'm really trying to like, I really need to learn are these things called the array languages. I don't know if you've seen these.
No, I've not
there's
really
this,
explored much. Like weird programming languages
weird
is
guys.
something I've yet to really
Yeah.
explore. So
Yeah. It's a of course it's kind of silly, right? It's not really
of course,
useful, right?
yeah.
But it's fun,
fun,
right? It's
yeah.
kind of this guy like you'll hear about and these are guys that are not like people are mentioning like Bfunge and Malbolge. These guys are like there are like languages that are designed like to be kind of funny, right? Or be like a challenge. These are not challenge languages, right? This thing I just linked, this is something that is like designed to be used, right?
What
This is
am I
like,
hold
yes,
on.
it's-
What am I looking at?
It's based on APL.
Uh-huh.
Is the idea, and one of the kind of hallmarks of this is they tend to use a lot of weird symbols.
I'll say.
But yeah, but they have there are a bunch of these. There's like APL and this guy BQN. There's another one called J. There's another one called K. And they all kind of have this extremely terse nature. They don't really use. Yeah, it looks like what Hollywood uses for alien language, right?
Yeah, true.
It's yeah, I don't know. And this is and these make you think in an extremely different way, right? They're entirely the way they're written is very different, and also it's like the way that you write programs is very different, right?
Yeah,
it's very focused on like applying transformations to multi-dimensional arrays, basically, is usually right. It's a really alien thing, and like writing in these makes me feel like I'm learning to program for the first time again, and that's kind of exciting for me, at least.
That sounds
right?
exciting.
It's like I can get that feeling of like, well, I don't know anything, right? It's
I should do that sometime too. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, no, I think it's worth doing. I did for Advent of Code last year. It was the first year I ever finished it, and I did
really okay.
I did a different language every day for all 25 days.
Oh wow, okay.
And I did a bunch of these weird ones early on when the question it was still kind of easy, and I think it was I mean, I'm still taught. I think it was a very valuable experience. I had a ton of fun doing it, and I learned a bunch of stuff.
I never can bring myself to finish Advent of Code. Like the first like 10 or so are always like super fun, but then like the remaining ones are like write a grid parser for this custom input format, and I just get like bored of it after like one or two because it just gets so repetitive.
Yeah. I had never finished. I was in the exact same boat. I had never gotten beyond like day 10.
Yeah.
But kind of having I don't know. It's kind of nice. I don't do them on stream because I think they're kind of boring to do on stream, I guess. But like, it's nice having people to talk to about it and like have this accountability, and like, you know, I don't want to let people. If I say I'm doing it, I don't want to let people down and just like, you know, not. I think I'll be finishing from this point forward, but it is. It's also kind of like you know, my experience is weighted by using these terrible things to do this challenge, but it was very time intensive too.
I imagine, yeah.
Because every day I was like, well, I have to set up this new whole environment. I have to get this thing installed. I have to make sure it works. I have to learn like, oh, how do I reverse a string? How do I parse the input? And so it was very time intensive. But,
I imagine.
Probably doing it normally would be less so.
Haskell is one that I really want to learn sometime, or like just any kind of like functional programming language. I don't think I'll like do anything like big with it, but just to like, you know, broaden my horizons, so to speak, and like learn a new way of programming, basically.
Yeah, I would recommend this very strongly. If you ever need any help with this, please let me know. And,
that sounds awesome. Yeah.
I think it's. Yeah. I am. I'm not writing a ton of Haskell these days, but it's like probably one of the things that I have written the most, and I think it's pretty accessible. I think people have a weird impression of Haskell. I think it's. I mean, a lot of people's impressions about a lot of things are just shaped by memes and stuff online, right? But like, it's not something where you have to like know a bunch of math. It's very like, it's work. It's like you know, you can write web servers, right? You can write games and stuff. It's very like it's just a tool. I think it's a lot of fun. It's especially if you love types.
Yeah, I do love types.
Really,
types are bae.
Yeah. They are as they say, bae.
as people our age say.
Yeah, as young people like us.
Yeah,
say.
like young people like us, exactly. Elias Dolan asked an interesting question. Standard or split keyboards? What kind of question do you use, LCoolOnQ?
I'm a bad typist. I don't type very fast. I have a keyboard. I've used the same keyboard since I was in high school. I have like a big replica Model M Unicomp thing, so it's super loud. Like you can hear me typing probably.
A little bit.
If I type.
You have like some good noise suppression or something.
It's pretty. Yeah. I have probably the filter on the thing. It's I don't know. I'm not super opinionated about it. I tried using a split guy for a while. I got like an Ergodox like some years ago when that was the thing. I tried using it for like a week, and I just put it in my closet and have not taken it out for years.
I have one of those too. I have a Charybdis Nano, which is from a company that's for some reason called Bastard Keyboard, and I really wanted to like it because, like, for me, I would love to work on a split keyboard because anything that's like ergonomic, I'll like give a try. And because I'm a dirty mouse user and I have no plans of not being a dirty mouse user, I specifically would want a split keyboard with a trackball integrated into it because, like, I feel like, you know, the only way a split keyboard really makes sense is if I don't, as a result of splitting my keyboard, put my mouse into a less ergonomic position, you know? So I like just want a keyboard with an integrated trackball. The problem is, like, the Charybdis keyboards have like the trackball in such a weird position that it's like below your palm, and it's really I try to like it, and it's also, you know, in my closet.
Yeah. I think the thing for me is I don't want to lose my ability to, like, it's the same reason I haven't like switched to like Colomac or whatever one of the alternative layouts, right? It's just I don't want to lose my ability to type reasonably on like, just random keyboards and laptops and stuff, right? Because a lot of the time I just have some crappy old machine. I don't have a nice keyboard with me, and I don't want to be. I just want to like be able to reuse the same. I would value the reuse of muscle memory more than the whatever. I don't really have. I think I've been pretty good at avoiding RSI and things like this, like pretty good posture and stuff. So I think it's probably okay.
I do use. Sorry, did you want to say something?
Oh no, sorry.
I do use Dvorak myself. We're doing the thing again where we're talking over each other.
No, I was going to say I have to overcome my I think I have a tendency to just kind of like verbally, like, you know, it's like a thing you do when you're streaming, right? Where you just like, I'll just keep talking.
No,
right?
I love it. I love it. It's just we figure it out, you know, like we both.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah. Two yappers are better than one, is what I say.
This is a double yapper situation.
Yeah. But what I was going to say, we did it again. What did you say?
Oh no, continue. Please go.
Okay, what I was going to say is that I switched to Dvorak like a couple of years back because like back then I was like typing on, like, I'd never learned how to touch type properly. I was like just using like 5 or 6 fingers or something, and I was like, you know what? I type literally all day, every day. I mean, not literally, but you get what I mean. And I was like, you know what? I'll learn how to type properly, and if I'm relearning how to type anyway, I might as well learn Dvorak. And so I made, because I'm that kind of nerd, a custom keyboard layout based on Dvorak, and I made it using the Microsoft keyboard layout creator back then, because it was on Windows, which is actually a surprisingly good piece of software. And I made my own Dvorak keyboard layout, and it is still what I use. And I am much lower now on other people's keyboards, but I just don't use other people's keyboards.
I see. Do you have good success getting this to run on Linux? It's not an issue.
There is actually a converter from the keyboard layout creator format to Linux, and I did have to make some adjustments, and I use like another software that like when I use like Control or something, that it like gives me the QWERTY shortcuts, because like Dvorak is nice, but like when you do like Control-C, that's like on Dvorak, that's a 2-handed shortcut, and I want it to be a 1-handed shortcut.
Yeah, I see. Cool. Nice.
So yeah, it's called Dvorak QWERTY, what I'm using. It's like, you know, when I hold down like Control or Alt or something, it like briefly switches the layout in that moment.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's really sick.
Yeah.
I'm hell yeah.
So I guess I use Insane People Dvorak, depending on which one is Insane People Dvorak, Lily. It's like, I guess it's like kind of, I think Programmer's Dvorak has that too. I have like a bunch of symbols on like the home row, because like by default, like I have like a third layer using like Alt, and no, it's not Programmer Dvorak. It is like even more custom than that. It's like hold on, how do I best show this off? I shall briefly show my keyboard layout. Excuse me. Where's the preview? Here's the preview. I'll briefly switch to my other scene, which shows off here. This is the keyboard layout that I use, which is like, you know, Dvorak with like the symbols here and just a bunch of like stuff arranged around the home row rather than up here. And not the weird thing that programmer Dvorak does where it rearranges the numbers, which is just strange.
Yes. This is funny. This is good. I'm still. I think it would destroy me. I'm still in the position where like I use like 3. I know. I think I've gotten to the point where like I know where all the keys are, right? Like I'm not like hunting and pecking, I guess, but I just like kind of just like hit the key with whatever finger is close. I don't
That's
really
cute.
know
I love
what
that.
finger. Yeah, I just kind of like know what the keyboard is. Like, so I'm pretty sure like I could type like with the keyboard sideways if I wanted to. And just like I just know where the keys are, but I would be slow, obviously. So I feel like switching to anything would just be like I would have to totally relearn everything. I would have to like, oh yeah, and I'm scared to do it.
Yeah, no. When you switch, like you have like 10 words per minute or something at first. Like it is tough switching to a new keyboard layout.
Yes.
Do I think default KDE is bloated? I don't know. Depends on what you mean by bloated. It's
bloated
it works.
Bloated has become this is a nothing word, right? What does this mean? Like I think this is the thing that people like to say, right? Like especially regarding like like people get this. I had this impulse in my heart for a long time, right? I was a Gentoo user for before I was a Nix user, and I really wanted to have like as little stuff on my system as possible, right? And like I wanted to like, okay, if I can avoid having Qt installed, this will be a win or something. It really just doesn't matter very much, right? This is a fun hobby, I think, but like in practice, it's like not super relevant. I mean, there are considerations of like, well, you probably want your software to not use 1 million gigabytes of RAM, right? Like,
yeah, true.
Or something, right? But like, there are bigger offenders, I think, than KDE probably for anything like this, right? And like you have to consider. Please.
No, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Finish your sentence, please.
No, you're not interrupting. No, stop.
I was going to say, I value a lot having a system that just works. So something like Nix, like you said, probably wouldn't be for me. Where it's like, you have to like tinker with it all. I do like tinkering, but I want a system that just works. Like because I do work on it. I do like a lot of things on it. Like I like tinkering. I don't want to have to tinker. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You want mandatory tinkering session 30 minutes before the Zoom meeting to make the microphone work. Yeah.
So it's like really, I really value that like Nobara with KDE kind of just works. It's just I install it. It's like no configuration needed. Like just change it to like theme like same person and change like 2 settings and I have a system. I don't need to have a bunch of custom stuff. I don't do like any kind of like ricing or anything like that. I just have a system that works out of the box, and I value that.
No, this is really good. I think in general I would like to move beyond thinking about things like bloat. I want to think about if I'm going to like it's good to think about specific things. I think this is how I would about this. I guess Alias told me, right? Like specific things like specific performance concerns or memory usage, etc. These are good. These are things to consider. I think as you start abstracting these things towards this thing is bloat, like it's like what does it mean at the end of the day, right? It means what bloated means in practice probably is the definition of this is probably someone on Twitter does not like it, right? This is like some guy on YouTube didn't like it, so he called it bloated, right? Well, what is practically what does this mean? Right? It's I don't know. A Squared is looking for the who is this? Did I miss the message? Oh, Fish Tour.
Yeah. Well, what kind of tour do you want? You want to go for? Should I go for a swim at the aquarium? Do you have any pet silicone on queue?
I don't have pets personally. I'm
You
not
want
a
pets?
I'm not a huge. I don't really know. I like animals. I like them at a distance. I think I'm not I'm not. Oh, there's a giant spider in my room.
Like right now?
The no, he's living here. He's running around sometimes. I see him at night.
Um,
We have little encounters and things like this.
that sounds
But
horrifying.
this is no, it's okay. He's doing well. He's hanging out. I think he's a good spider. Maybe he keeps the rest of the bugs out. But that's my main pet right now.
Like not in like a
Yeah.
terrarium or anything, like actually out and about.
No, he's just out and about. He's not really giant either. He's like maybe the size of my thumb.
Oh,
Like,
okay. I'm sorry, did you say thumb or palm?
thumb, not palm.
Okay,
palm
okay.
Would be really that palm
Yeah,
would
yeah.
be a problem.
Yeah,
We'd
yeah, that
be
would
on
be
the
a
hunt.
problem. That
We'd be
would
going on
be-
safari. I think yes. You know he's. I don't. I'm very. I think just something about my personality. I've always been very skittish around animals. I've never like never been very comfortable with them. And when I was in high school, I was a runner. I did like track and cross country running pretty seriously. So I would just like run around the city. And one time when I was running, I got chased and bit by like an unleashed dog that someone had in their yard.
Oh wow.
Ever since then, I'm very very cautious.
Yeah, I
around-
get that.
don't,
Understand.
I like them at a distance mostly.
I'm sorry that happened to
Yes.
you.
Oh no, it's all of course it happens to things happen. But I would love to see the fish if you have them easily on
Of course,
hand.
there's like there's the big fishies right here, and in the Discord there is a dossier of the fishies. Yeah, but this is like the full screen. Hey, let me get their attention. Hey, little yellow. That's little yellow. That's Jackie. That's Albert. That's Buttercup. Daisy and Grumpy Pete is doing his own thing. Hey, Grumpy Pete. Hey, give me attention. Come here. There he is. Hi. Yeah, I've had them for a year now. It's been kind of like it was the result of like burnout prevention because like I kind of just took like a bunch of time of everything last year, and
Yeah.
we had
Yeah.
like a pond, like a little pond outside with koi and goldfish for like years now, but I never really interacted much with them because
Yes.
like most people do, I kind of thought that, they're just fish, they're just stupid, and I like randomly saw my mom feeding them, and I was like, that's kind of cute, and she was like, well, you can sit down with them and feed them, and I was like, well, I've been feeling stressed anyway, I'll do that, and so I sat down there, and like, so quickly they started coming up to me and like, building trust, and like, I realized that no, fish aren't stupid, they are actually really intelligent and affectionate creatures. So it's been a really cool experience to like, like with programming,
great.
learn
That's
something
great.
new and have a new thing that brings me joy in my life. So
That's really nice.
yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you have that. That's great.
yeah, and the aquarium was kind of just like the result of winter coming and me being like, like the idea of like, spending months not being able to go see the fishies approaching, and I was like, well, I gotta do something about that, and so the
Yeah.
idea
you gotta
of-
get some fish. Yeah.
yeah, the idea of Grumpy Pete in an aquarium, which is like, all of these were in the pond once, like I got them out of the pond.
Oh, you
and,
moved them
yeah,
from the pond. Oh, this
Yeah.
is cool.
Like these were like the
awesome.
fish specifically that like, really stood out to me, like Grumpy Pete by being so very grumpy, and Daisy by being pretty, and Little Yellow by being very affectionate and all that, and I just managed to catch them out and put them into the aquarium, and it's been quite a bit of work, but it's now in a place where it is actually like just a lot of like learning new things. Like I'd never thought about fish keeping before, and it's been
Yeah.
a lot of like learning like how to like the chemistry that goes into it, like because you
Yeah.
have to think about like, every bit of food that you put in is something that needs to come out somehow, and so what a lot of people do is they like, change a part of the water every week. What I do is like I just put like a shit ton of plants in there that metabolize it, and it's just been
Yeah.
a lot of like learning
No,
and
that's-
just figuring stuff out.
That's great. My wife had like a much smaller aquarium, but like
Mm-hmm.
for is it beta fish, like
Betta
some,
fish,
some
yeah.
tropical fish in when we were in college. And I remember her, like it was like a lot of effort. It was like a ton of reading and research
Yeah,
about like
yeah.
how to keep the thing keep it going well. So it's cool. That's really great.
Yeah.
It's
like,
a nice visual on stream too. It's really cute.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you like either like you have to do like some research because like these are living, breathing animals that you have to take care of. So like some amount of research is like unavoidable, but it's like you either do like a lot of research and setup work, or you do like a decent amount of maintenance work. And the most important thing really is like the less amount of fish you have per amount of water, the easier it's gonna be. Because like when you look at like a real life pond, it's like how many fish are there per like 1,000 liters of water in like an actual pond, So
Yeah.
when you compare that to an aquarium, it's like like this one's 450 liters, which I don't know whether that means anything to you because I think you're an imperial unit user, I'm assuming.
It probably, honestly, I don't have very good intuitions about units of volume either way. So I think liters this is fine. this works for me.
Okay.
I can basically understand this.
It's basically the biggest like consumer size aquarium I could get because like you can have like have like some kind of like glass worker build like an aquarium any kind of size, but this one had like the advantage of being like a pre-made system with like a light built in and a
not
filter
custom-
built in. It's just
custom
like it was a good way of like getting introduced to it rather than having to do everything from scratch.
Yeah. Cool.
Allie Stolen asked, do I change the water and do I have a cleaning system? I only change the water when needed, and I rely on the plants to clean it as much as possible. Which, again, took a lot of doing, especially because like goldfish are little shits and they try to tear apart any plants that they can find, so finding plants that they could like, that they would allow to survive was quite the challenge. But yeah. Now it is my turn to derail the conversation with my yapping.
No, this is not a derail. We're not on any. I think we're off the rails. We're going off road now. This is good. We have a little Jeep or something, or some kind of ATV, and we're going way. And this is good. Sometimes you have to explore a little bit.
Yeah, it is true. Goldfish are little shits, yeah, but they are wonderful little shits. They are they are smart. Like you can. I mean, you can train them to do tricks. Like they can. Like scientists have gotten them to like distinguish colors, like for instance like have like switches that they can press next to like different colors, different shapes, different and they like understand, like they genuinely like have like pattern recognition and stuff like that. So I think it's always like a little humbling and like important for us humans to not be like, oh, like we're so far above like animals or all that, when it's just like, sure, we speak human languages, but like in a lot of ways there's not that much that puts us above them.
Yeah, no, I think so too. It's good to not have strange notions. Cool. I'm trying to think, where were you? I'm trying to, I often play the game of like when we're talking, it's like, okay, we finished, there's like a topic, and the topic is reaching it, and it's like, now we have to like unwind the stack. We have to walk back up and see, okay, where were we before this?
Scroll up and scrolling up in chat is usually a pretty good indication of where the. Oh yeah, the spider thing, that reminds me of a story that an Australian once told me, where like he had just moved into like a new house, and he had like an upstairs bedroom, but there was only like a bathroom downstairs, and he had to like he got up in the middle of the night, and he was Australian, right? And so he was like trying to go downstairs, and so like he kind of like stopped like at the top of the stairs, and there was like a bit of wall above them, and he was looking up there, they're still like sleepy, eyes half open and like the very dim light, and he was like, he looked at it and he was like, huh, I don't remember us getting a new clock. And the more he looked at it, the more he was like, oh, this is not a clock, this is a clock-sized spider, and so he just went back to bed.
Oh my god. Yeah, Australia seems like this is like
oh yeah, it's terrifying.
This is like, I don't know about this. I'm very satisfied with you know, I'm
Not being there, yeah.
yeah, even places in like the south of the United States, I hear people talking about, yo, yeah, you have to shake your shoes out for scorpions and things
Oh god,
like this.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like I don't want to
No.
do this. I'm happy with like, you know, my extremely minor, extremely mostly friendly flora and fauna.
Absolutely.
It's yeah.
And before then, we were talking about bloat. Yeah.
Oh, glow. Yes. I think we've. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everything's gonna be okay. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you have to consider that, like,
okay.
you know, of course, you know, for bloat, like, when you consider a phone, sure, there's, like, you know, some apps where, like, you know, I'm sure Facebook pays, like, you know, millions or billions to Google to have, like, you know, their app pre-installed, but it's like, you know, you also have to consider that, like, you know, these operating systems, like, even, like, Linux at this point, you want it to be pre-configured for, like, you know, the average user, and the average user is gonna want, like, you know, a web browser, a settings app, a notes app, and all these things. Like, it makes sense for it to be pre-installed, you know? Like, if you...
Yeah.
It also makes sense for there to be, like, you know, things that don't have, that if someone does want to configure it completely from scratch, but, like, for, like, you know, the average user, like, they're not gonna want to install all of these things manually.
It's good for many things to flourish. I think this. Yeah, it's good when there are many things exist. I'm very glad. It's good to have many things in the world, and for more things to be created, and for there to be more options and more possibilities. Yeah.
To an extent, you do, again, like, it's just like with Linux distributions, you have to, like, you know, be careful not to make things too unapproachable for, like, you know, newcomers, you know? So you have to, like, kind of, like, be like, okay, so there are these many options, but, like, you know, either it doesn't matter which one you pick, or there's, like, you know, an actual best option or a few best options for, like, newcomers, you know? Because it's really overwhelming if you, like, just don't have the knowledge yet to be able to distinguish which one you want to use.
It's analysis paralysis.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Before then, we were talking about keyboard layouts, right?
Keyboard, yeah, we were on Dvorak. We've covered a lot of ground today. Mario.
Yeah.
This has been quite. I definitely don't want to keep you too long. I don't know how long you were.
I'm down for whatever. I'm down for whatever.
You're down.
I'm having a bunch of fun.
Oh, yeah, this is good fun.
Tell me a bit about maybe your most recent coding adventure that you've had.
Oh, what we're working on? We've done a couple of things recently. It's been let me think. Sorry, I'm bonking at the door here. It's I think the most recent thing we did was we built a little thing that lets me draw on the screen. So it's like a transparent full screen window that I can press a hotkey. I can click through it like it's not even there. But I can press a hotkey and if I'm holding down this hotkey, it just draws when I move my mouse, like over on top of anything else.
Oh, okay. So you do use a mouse? I thought you were like a keyboard warrior.
I'm mostly a keyboard enjoyer, but I have a mouse.
Okay.
I have it plugged in. I'll use it occasionally to like scroll. It's nice for scrolling or browsing the web or you know, sometimes you gotta do. I have actually I'm a big MMO gamer. This is my vice. My vice of choice. So I have I have like a mouse with like the 12 button keypad on the side.
Oh wow, okay.
I use this quite a lot. But yeah, so it lets me draw on the screen, and we then made it so you can we built a thing for like sending images. So you can, like, for example, like I can draw, and instead of it like drawing like in like a color, it like kind of cuts away into an image.
Okay.
Background.
Like one of these like scratch cards, except on your screen.
Yeah, it's like a scratch card, right? And then we made it so you can do video. We wrote Rust bindings for MPV, like the MPV video player, and then made it so you can draw into playing like video playback. And before this, what were we doing? Before this, we wrote a Game Boy Advance emulator, I think.
Oh,
I'm so like this is like hacked on
scratch
still. Or at least we wrote the CD. We didn't do the full thing. We haven't done any of the graphic stuff or audio yet. We currently have like half of the CPU. Is the thing. We have the the Game Boy Advance. It has this processor called, basically it's an ARM processor, and it has two like modes. There's like there's the ARM mode where it runs 32-bit instructions, and there's this thing called Thumb, which is like a more compact instruction encoding. So it runs the instructions are only 16 bits. So they're different instruction sets, but they mostly do the same operations. So we got the ARM side done in like a big test suite. We had all these tests passing. I still have to like finish the Thumb side of it, which I probably will do soon.
Is that like the smaller instruction set? Is there for like, you know, the like legacy Game Boy games, or?
No. So the Game Boy is on the legacy Game Boy. Like the Game Boy Advance actually has there's just a separate CPU on the chip. Like on the motherboard, just another CPU that just can run legacy Game Boy games.
Oh, I see.
The whole system. There's like on cartridges. There's like a little notch on Game Boy Advance cartridges, I think. So like there's like a physical switch that is activated when you plug in and the whole system runs at like a different voltage even when you have the old Game Boy games.
Okay.
It's very strange the way it's kind of cool the way they do the compatibility. But the reason why they have this 16-bit encoding is it was actually like it was motivated by the Game Boy Advance. It's because the memory bus that reads from the cartridge is only 16 bits wide. So if you're running, you can run the 32-bit instructions, and you need to in some cases, like for your interrupt handlers and stuff like this, you need to run them. But it's much slower because it kind of requires 2 reads across the memory bus.
Oh, okay.
And like it makes it, you know, it can be slower to run these things. So most games are in practice. I mean, for the Game Boy Advance, most games were written in C, I think. Like it's a strong enough machine that they could get away with, you know, using a compiler instead of on the Game Boy, where I think most things they just wrote in assembly. But yeah, so we wrote this CPU emulator, and that was sort of motivated by a few months ago. We've one of our like ongoing projects is like, I'm very interested in compilers and things like this. I love this. So an ongoing project is kind of like, we're trying to make sort of like an interactive compiler thing. Like we're like, so instead of having like a monolithic compiler where it's just like a program that ingests the language and spits out a binary, we're trying to build like tools that maybe explore different ways of doing this. So we're calling it compiler upside down cake. I don't know. It's like a weird inside out compiler thing. So what that means in practice is we're kind of we're building a bunch of like compiler parts or like pieces of compiler, and they're all like exposed or written in Emacs Lisp.
The entire compiler is.
And then the actual, yes, right.
Okay.
And then the actual, sorry, excuse me. The actual program is like a Lisp program that uses these parts to spit out a binary. Like it's sort of inspired by the idea that like if you think of something like C, right? C is kind of like multiple languages, right? I mean, there's the obvious sense where like there's like the preprocessor and the actual, well, like in a different sense, right? There are things in C that are like actual code, right? Like for example, something like saying, x plus equals 2, right? This actually corresponds to some machine code that needs to be produced, right? There's actual instructions there. Then there are things that are kind of like, they're sort of like instructions that guide how code is produced, right? They don't actually correspond to code, right? But they're things that tell the C compiler about things, right? They're, like for example, a struct declaration, right?
Oh yeah, that's true.
A struct declaration doesn't correspond to actual, right? But it's saying like, okay, the code you produce in the future, you should know during your translation that saying, like x.foo means, read from this offset. Right.
So basically things that are almost more for the benefit of the human, because it's not like it's not directly talking to the machine, but it's like making it easier for the humans to reason about what this code actually means.
Yeah, and also for the compiler to reason, but the compiler needs to know that stuff, right? But it's kind of like you have code that is like sort of like the you know, like the actual executable code,
Mhm.
right? And then you have this other thing that's like it's sort of like instructions for the compiler,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
It's sort of like scripting the compiler almost,
Mhm.
right? So kind of the idea is, what if instead of having this be like kind of like sort of all mixed together, what if this separation was a little clearer, right? What if it was, we are literally just writing in this scripting language, and this is like like these various compiler pieces are just exposed to the scripting language, right?
Mhm.
So it's sort of like we're going to write our actual, like, you know, executed code in this, like, whatever little thing whatever way we decide to write it, like probably in our case, it's like a bunch of like Lisp data, right?
Mhm.
And then there's like kind of the scripting that happens that's like kind of like the, well, stuff equivalent to like a struct declaration in C, but suddenly it's more flexible, right? Because instead of just having like this like very limited thing, we can just like say whatever we want, right? We can like, you know, generate a struct by reading a web page if we really want to, right? We can do whatever we wish.
So it's
And,
almost like less
so-
separation between the code and the compiler too.
Yeah, kind of, right? Like, so it makes like the source code of the things we're writing. It's like it kind of uses the compiler as a library almost, right?
yeah.
It's yeah. So last year we did this for the original Game Boy, which we wrote an assembler for that system in Lisp, and we used this assembler and like made a bunch of like kind of macros on top of it to we wrote a little Game Boy thing, and then I like put it on cartridges and gave it out to people
Really? Like actual cartridges?
at like a convention. Yeah,
And it worked
TwitchCon,
too?
At TwitchCon last year. Yes, it runs in
Wow.
real Game Boy. Yeah, and then we wanted to follow this up for the Game Boy Advance, and I have a lot more nostalgia for the Game Boy Advance. This is like closer to like what I did as a kid and stuff. So I'm really we've been tinkering with that. So we like I think in May we got this to a point where like we have a working like ARM and thumb assembler and like a bunch of like utilities and like things to like have a symbol table and like, you know, modify variables and stuff like do like utility on top of the assembly. And we made a little Game Boy Advance game with this and like put it in a game jam. So it was kind of fun. There's like this biannual Lisp game jam. So we had fun submitting our Game Boy Advance game to the Lisp game jam, because it is written in Lisp technically. It's just like
True.
a Lisp program that produces a Game Boy Advance ROM. But no, I want to continue working on this. This sort of motivated the emulator because I want a way to run tests very easily.
Yeah, for sure.
So I want this little like CPU emulator so I can, like, you know, if I compile a function, I want to make sure the function actually like works. And right now that's very annoying. I have to like stare at it in GDB for half an hour.
Or like upload it to an
but, like, I
actual
would, like-
Game Boy Advance, which is also not like the most
Yeah.
direct like,
Or, like, run.
testing flow.
Yeah. So it's a little awkward. So I'm trying to build like more tooling around this, and eventually like higher level compilers, and like I want like my own little like C like language on it, and like that like is like compiles to my own assembler, and so it's kind of fun because it's like it's all from scratch, right? Including like
Cool.
I'm not even using someone else's compiler, right? There's no other tools at all. It's only like I just have this program, it spits out bytes. The bytes are a file that this machine can run. So this is kind of like the big ongoing project that I kind of, you know, we pick this up every few months and keep working on it.
And so for the emulator, do you have like do you need like a ROM of like the Game Boy itself, or like the Game Boy Advance itself, or is it like is there no like pre-installed code in like the hardware?
There is pre-installed code. There's like a little BIOS. That you can,
Do you like
yeah,
need
you can
that, or do you
extract it.
also write that yourself?
You don't strictly need that, and the way where I am right now, I probably won't. I'm kind of unsure if I'm going to go ahead and do all of the graphics stuff, because that's like most of the pre-installed code. You don't actually. It's like there's like utilities for like playing MIDI files and things. Like there's like things like this, right? And I don't know if I'm actually going to use that, because I mostly just care about like testing
Yeah.
like functions, right? Like testing like my code that probably is you know, just moving, like manipulating the game state and things like this, and not. But like it would be cool to like have it be an actual like working emulator with a display and things like this, and so maybe we'll do it eventually. Fake side effects of the graphics interrupts and stuff, yeah, maybe so. I don't intend, I'm not really sure where I'm going to go. I don't necessarily intend to like test like my main loop with this, right? I want to just like mostly test like the idea I had in my head writing it was like, if I have like one function that like, I don't know, like does the, you know, if I'm writing like an RPG, a function that like does an attack, right? Like subtracts from your HP and like sets some flags on a character and like maybe says, okay, the character is dead, they're out of hit points, right? This is like doesn't really have anything to do with the Game Boy's hardware. It's just like it's just code, right, that manipulates something. And I would like to be able to have a thing where like I have semantics for that. Like if I'm writing a compiler, right? I want to have like an interpreter for the compiler's language, and then also this like simulator for like the compiled code. So then I can like compare the results of like just interpreting the code and then like running it on the emulator and like see, oh, they produced the same result. The compiler must be right. This kind of thing, right? Less so like, hey, the whole game's main loop works correctly. Because I can already do that. I have, you know, there's already emulators.
And so you're basically working on like all parts of the like Game Boy emulate, like ROMs in execution at once,
Yeah.
and like just testing them like one at a
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Yeah, I like, it's mostly like, it's kind of just like for funsies, because I
Of
want to like,
course, yeah.
I mean, I have so much nostalgia for this, right?
Mhm.
And like, I want to understand it really well. I want to like, because like, you know, I grew up, I have very fond memories of like, you know, sitting at my grandparents' house or something, playing Pokemon Emerald or something like
Aw.
this, and like,
I remember
I feel
that
like the
one. Yeah,
best
that one
thing
was
I can
good.
do- Yeah, that's the good one, and I feel like as an adult, like, you know, I have this time now, I have all this interest and like
Mhm.
kind of, you know, some kind of relevant skill set to this sort of thing. It's like, well, what would be a better tribute to this than like developing my understanding of this in like a complete way. Like
Yeah,
to
for
me,
sure.
like the yeah, like I don't know.
Which
I-
other
I-
Game Boy Advance games did you like really like?
Oh man, there's a couple. I didn't have that many. I had Pokemon was a big thing for me.
Mhm.
I remember Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga.
Oh yeah,
It's a
dude,
classic.
I was gonna ask you about that one
Yeah.
specifically because that's probably my favorite GBA game. That one is just so.
Yeah.
I've played that
It's
one
so
like 6 or 7 times already, and like I recently was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I think I need to play through it again because it's just
Yeah,
such
I
a good game.
I need to as well. It's been some time. It's very good, and like
Mm-hmm.
the whole visuals, like that game has influenced me. So like the whole visual style of this is it's so perfect. Yeah, Wario
Yeah.
Land 4. Wario Land 4 is great. The WarioWare, the first WarioWare Mega Micro Games is really
Oh
good.
yeah.
There's a lot. It's a really strong library.
Mhm.
There's a lot of good stuff.
It was
All
a good
three-
console,
three
yeah.
Fire Emblems. Yeah, it's a great console. Especially considering like it really didn't, like, the lifespan of the GBA was not very long. I had not really realized this because of, like, you know, I think time passes differently when you're young, right?
For sure,
But,
for
like,
sure.
The Game Boy Advance, when did this come out? It's like 2001.
But it must have been a
Right.
while because like there
Um,
was the SB too, right?
Yeah, and they released the SP, but then the DS came out in 2004.
Really? Okay. I mean, I guess 3 years
Yeah,
is
so there-
that short for a consoles are like.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like how
Yeah.
much time was there between like, you know, Switch and Switch 2? Switch came out.
It's been like 10 years.
What? No way. Oh my
Yeah.
god, Switch came out 2017 and Switch 2 came out like a year ago or something, right?
2025. Yeah, it's been like 8 years.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Superstar Saga, if you haven't played this, Steger, it's so charming and it's so like good in every
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
way. It's
It-
like
It's a Super Mario and Luigi RPG. And it's like I think one of the second Mario and Luigi RPG, I think. The first one being Super Mario
Yeah.
RPG. I mean, I guess it's the first Mario and Luigi RPG, I think. And it's just so like if you've played Paper Mario, it's kind of, you know, similar in style, I would say, but like, you know, not like visual style, but like in style of game. And just very charming and just very just everything about like the storytelling, and it's just very cute.
Yes. Yeah. Very easy to make a custom. Yeah, this is my eventual dream. Like right now I've put things onto like carts I've bought from other people. I want to get enough into things that I can like design a custom PCB and like source like I want to like my eventual dream is to like I want to both run games from my childhood on an emulator that I have written. This would be a cool thing to do eventually. And then also like this is like the main thing that would maybe motivate me to actually write the damn graphics stuff. And then also I would like to run a game that I made entirely myself from scratch on a cartridge I made myself on actual hardware. We're only lacking the cartridge part now, is I put it on like, I have, I can buy a cartridge from somebody, but I would like to actually know enough to do this.
Like make the cartridge itself from scratch too.
Yeah, probably not from scratch, but like design the PCB and order this.
Well, yeah, of course, not
from
like
somebody who makes PCB. Yeah, yeah.
Not
I'm not
like
gonna,
go into like the desert and mine silicone and then not quite like that, but like actually like
yeah.
DIY silicon is a thing now, really. I want to know about that. How do you DIY silicon?
Yeah, I would really. Yeah, I think there was stuff at Open Source this year, right? Poof is someone. I think Poof went to Open Source and saw something about this, maybe. Either way, it's exciting. I want to know about it. This is like my I don't know, me being a fan, basically. This is other people might do like fan art or something. This is what I feel like I'm best equipped to like. I don't know to do. So this is what we are going to do. I want to
sounds awesome.
Develop a complete understanding of this.
So the GBA is like your favorite like piece of like hardware, you would say?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, after this we're gonna do other stuff too. We will exhaust the GBA's fun eventually, I think, and then we'll just do. I just think emulators are really so much fun. I don't know if you've ever experimented with this, but it's like one of the most fun things you can program, because it's so like it's very like visual. Right, it's very, you can see kind of what's happening, like you were talking about earlier with PHP, right? It's like very like, well, you kind of know what's going on, and also the payoff is so good, right? Because like you finish the emulator and it's like I can run like actual software written by other people, right? You like writing something like a Game Boy emulator is really not hard.
Really?
Like
I would imagine it's pretty hard.
It's like it's a little hard, right? But it's achievable, right? It's like
for sure.
Like for the original Game Boy, it's something you can do, like depending on your experience, probably in like a couple of weekends, right? Like it's like and then you can run games, right? Like you can run like Pokemon Red and Blue, right? And see it moving around. But maybe it's a little bit buggy, but maybe like it's really magical. So I'm gonna keep doing this for the foreseeable future.
Yeah,
I think it's a great thing.
To me right now it's very very I don't want to say overwhelming, but it's like it's something that I've never really like looked into at all, like writing an emulator and stuff like that. But basically it's literally just like reading the code and like performing actions like based on the code you're reading, right? Like you're just
it can be very like docs driven also a lot of the time. Like for emulating a CPU, right? Like it's very like, well, you just have you find the CPU's documentation and like it's usually pretty precise. And like oftentimes for a lot of these machines, there's this cool thing I found where like a lot of people have like produced pretty exhaustive suites of CPU tests, right? So like for every instruction, they'll like give you like there's a bunch of it's I think it's on GitHub under, is it single step tests. This GitHub organization, is this the right one? Yeah, they have repos for a bunch of like old.
Oh, that's awesome. So like if you want to write your own emulator, you can just use these tests as like kind of like a way of testing your progress and testing your work.
It makes it way simpler, right? Because like
that's awesome.
They give you like for every instruction you have like, here's the complete, like in JSON, here's the complete initial state of the CPU, here's what the CPU should look like at the end of the instruction. And then what it does is it just like you just set up, you read the JSON, you set up your state, you run it, and you compare against the output state. And so like using this to guide I've been using this to like guide myself on a lot of these projects, and it's very useful.
Do they have one for the GBA processor too?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
They do. Which was I didn't find this for a long time, and I thought I was going to have to write my own tests, which was going to be really painful, because like there's a lot of like intricacies in the, it's like you get the flags wrong on the certain instructions and it messes everything up, and it's really hard to debug sometimes. But like having these is a real boon. And yeah, I would say if you're at all interested in this kind of stuff, there's the place a lot of people start is there's like this fake computer called the Chip 8. Which is like, it's kind of like a little VM thing, kind of, that's, sorry, I'm just linking things in your chat now. I apologize.
Do it. No apologies, do it.
it's like a little fake computer, but it has a lot of the attributes of like something you know. It has a binary instruction set, right? It has registers. It has, you know, jumps and branches and function calls and various things, and also graphics. And there are games that exist, right? You can like download Chip 8 Pong and run Pong on your Chip 8.
Yeah,
it's
I
also
see the
simple
screenshot.
enough that
Yeah.
you can do this pretty quickly, right? It's not like it's not a killer, right? It's very accessible. So this is usually where like it's much easier than doing like a real piece of hardware, but it's also like you're doing most of the same things, and you're learning most of the same, you know, like if you wrote an emulator for this, you can do a Game Boy, right? It's just like gonna be some more like more complex.
I'm looking at the link that PWFFF posted right now about the this is still like having someone else like manufacture the PCBs for you, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think that's really something you can like reasonably do yourself, because you need like the actual like factory stuff set up for it, I'm assuming. Because like when I heard DIY silicon, I thought you meant like, you know, like making it actually yourself from scratch. That sounds kind of hard.
The YouTube link actually is this, I think.
Oh, really?
Right.
Oh yeah,
I think
built a
there's
chip fab in their garage.
There's a lot
Oh
of
wow.
chemistry. Like this is actually like etching the thing. And
Oh, wow.
doing the whole.
That is crazy.
Aw.
That's kind of cool that like we're at a. I feel like that kind of like, it shows when we as like a people, as a human race, have understood something enough that, like, you know, random people can start doing it in their garages, you know? That like, you know, we have the tech like understood, and like I can't think of the word, like we just understand it well enough that we can like make it affordable enough and simple enough for someone to like do it in their garage.
Yeah. It's kind of magical. It's a little bit magical that we have this. It's really good.
So I guess maybe there's like another thing you need to add to your project now. You need to build the chips from scratch too.
Gotta build a clean room. Gotta like, I don't know, man. It's gonna be, oh man. I don't know. We'll try our best. I think this is gonna be beyond me. I don't. As soon as it gets into the physical manipulation of objects, I'm willing to bow out. I think.
Yeah, like we said, if you don't enjoy it, there's no point. You know, like the whole point is.
It is interesting.
And to like go way back to the topic from before, it's like, you know, someone said, I think that, you know, it's possible to do what you love and like still get laid off, and I do agree with that. And like along the same lines of like, you know, how should you go about like finding a job? It's like I always say that like I think it makes the most sense not to like, you know, learn the things that you think will get you a job, but like just learn the things you enjoy the most and then focus on leveraging that to get you a job, because otherwise all you're doing is like, you know, learning how to do a job you don't enjoy.
Yeah, honestly, I think these days I would, if I had to do something, I would like to not do programming for my job. I think there's sort of a danger of like letting your job kill your hobby or something, right? Like letting it eat. You know, it doesn't have to be like this. And I've had a nice job in the past where it wasn't like this, but like I think you know, there's a YouTuber I like a lot who like does programming stuff on YouTube, and for the longest time like his actual job was he drove a bus, right? This was the thing. Like you know, you can just do the thing for fun.
For sure.
That's
no, like it really depends on the company. Like, you know, if you the more stress you get put under, the more it's going to like, you know, it's like if you start associating the thing with stress, then it's like, you know, you don't it becomes hard to do it in your free time because it like starts being negatively associated. So like as long as you enjoy it at work, it can be like really fun to like do the thing you love for work. But like if it starts becoming like stressful, then it can very
Yeah.
much ruin your
As
hobby.
soon as this is why I left my previous job.
Oh, really?
I quit my job to do streaming basically, and I was just so I started real like kind of the line in the sand for me was always like as soon as I like don't want to program in my free time, I'm like we gotta bail. We gotta bail. This is gonna suck all the fun out of my life.
And
So,
you felt like your job was doing that for
yeah.
you.
Yeah, I was in too much stress. So and luckily I'm in a position where I can, you know, I can be a weird guy online instead. So it's yeah.
So, can I ask what was so stressful about it, or is it like a topic you would prefer to not get into?
Oh no, it's I've talked about it before. I worked at like an R&D place. And we had like a bunch of different contracts working in like a bunch of different areas. And basically what happened is most of my coworkers were significantly more experienced than me. Right? I think I was when I left, I was the only person at the company I think who didn't have a PhD or something like this. I kind of snuck in by quitting my PhD program to join. And all of my coworkers who like knew stuff about the thing we were trying to do, they got hired by other places. They kind of got poached by places like Amazon and, you know, I think Intel, things like this. And so the company had like all these contracts, and I was kind of like working, you know, as part of teams on you know, I was like maybe working as part of a team of 2 or 3, and like they're usually like small little teams working on these contracts. And it slowly arrived at a position where like I was the only person working on like 5 different things.
Oh,
And
okay.
in a topic where like, you know, so like maybe 5 or 6 other people all kind of got left the company. And it's sort of in a topic area that's sort of niche and there's some level of like it's hard to hire for this, right? It's not really a thing they could hire more people for very easily. So it just turned into like I had all this stuff doing. I was like working on a different thing and reporting to a different manager every day. Like I was breaking it up so that like, okay, Mondays I am talking to this person and
That
trying
sounds
to do
real
this,
fun.
and like there was just so much context, and like I was talking to like external people too, like external, you know, like I had to explain like, oh well, I didn't get this done for our weekly meeting.
Yeah, that
XY
sounds
person
crazy, yeah.
From XY government, like you know, and like the company I was working at was very sympathetic to me, and they were like, you know, we don't want you to burn out. Like it was an unavoidable situation. It's like, what is the alternative to this? It's like, well, you have all of this stuff. I need to do all of this stuff. I don't
Ideally,
have
give you less
time.
stuff to
Like,
do, right? I mean, that's...
Yeah,
it's
and, like,
nice
they
that they
couldn't
were
take it
like
off me.
considerate, but they were like at the same time not really being
like, they're not gonna
considerate if they
solve the
weren't
problem.
like, you know,
Yeah,
reducing your
yeah.
workload.
Reducing my workload, and like there was no way they could there was basically no way they could reduce the workload, I think, without like basically like failing to deliver on the things that they had promised, or something like this.
It's just kind of like short-sighted, because if the alternative is you burning out, or you, as that eventually happened, like leave the company, it's like, you know,
Yeah,
I'm sure that still ended up happening. So it's like very short-sighted management.
I think it did put them in a much worse position. But like it's I don't know. You know, of course you can always do better things. You can always do better as an individual. Like I regret now, like I probably should have been more communicative to people. But like they knew I was very communicative about the amount of stress I was under. And like so, you know, I have no regrets about it now. It's just like but I really wish it hadn't happened because it was a job that I liked a lot. But you know, it's moved me on to better things. I'm much happier now. I'm doing
Good.
I love doing my goofy thing. So I like that a lot more.
Hell yeah.
I'd already been streaming when I would definitely not quit my job to stream. This is an insane thing to do. Never do this. But it was the kind of thing where like I needed to leave the job anyway because it was like crushing me under the weight of 1,000 pounds or something. And then I had already been streaming for like 6 months, and I was like doing pretty well with it. Like it was at the point where it was like, hey, this could maybe be something. So like yeah, it was everything lined up well.
Nice, perfect.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing streaming is. Like I wonder sometimes if things would have gone for me, because for me like at the 6 months mark was like not where my job went away, but like where I ended up falling into like a rather toxic relationship, and so that kind of has been what I reeled from for a while after that, and so that was
Yeah.
similarly interesting. Relationships have a way of getting to us.
This can affect you.
Mhm.
Sure. This can get you.
But you know,
Have you been streaming long? Has it been like how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing it on and off since 2021. I started in November of 2021, and then
Nice.
it was like it was super fun like immediately. Like I just I like kind of always knew that I wanted to stream, but like I never really had the opportunity for it because like streaming games like was never something that I like as variety, sure, but like
Yeah.
I've just never played games enough or wanted to play games enough
Yeah.
that I was like, you know, I wanna stream games full time or something like that. Like that never felt right, you know? And then
Yeah.
I got permission from work to stream my work, and that's when I like really started to stream a lot, you know? And
Yeah.
I did like, you know,
Cool.
40, 50 hours a week at first just because I was having so much fun. And
Yeah.
I probably would have kept doing that if not for like that fucked up relationship that started in like, you know, March of 22, you know? And so when that happened, just everything kind of like went sideways for a bit. And then
Yeah.
that relationship ended like half a year after that. And so then I like burnt out for a bit, recovered, burnt out again, just kind of like was hitting walls left and right trying to like find myself again. And right now I'm like finally after years in a position again where I'm like, you know, comfortable with myself and how things are.
Nice. I'm glad you're having a good time now.
Thank you.
That's the best. That's really good. Cool.
And so
Cool.
work has changed quite a bit since then. Like I don't stream my work nearly as much. I said this already, I think, because it's like a lot of like code review stuff now and just things that are it's just more efficient to do my work like off stream, like do it efficiently and then like do stuff I enjoy on stream.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. This is really good. You're at you work. I think you like this.
I work
is
at Gumroad,
Gumroad,
yeah.
right? Is this
Mhm.
the?
It is correct, yeah.
Cool.
It's but it's been kind of like crazy. It's just a really, in a good way, I think, a crazy company. Just like because it's like run by a, in a good way, crazy person who just like does things very differently. And it's like, you know, in 2021, like literally, I had gotten, I don't want to say laid off. It was very weird. The company I worked at before, it was a bit of a no-no website that I worked at before Gumroad, and
Yeah.
that was a very interesting experience. And so eventually that went away, and so I was just looking around for something new, and like someone just randomly sent me like the link to like Gumroad and was like, you know, they were looking for remote people and they work in like this really weird way that I think would be like a good fit for you. And so I
Yeah.
just wrote like it was like the only like application I wrote at the time, just like a super like long email, and like half an hour later he replied to me. He was like, sure, let's get on a phone call, and it was really cool. And it was just
Nice.
I don't know, I've always been someone like I hate meetings. I don't know how you are about meetings. Do you
Yeah.
hate meetings?
I hate meetings too. I cannot stand it. Like, does anyone like this? I don't know.
Managers do
Yeah, I
apparently.
Yeah, I would like to have one meeting a month. Tell me what to do for the next month, and I'll do it just autonomously.
I mean, daily meetings are so crazy to me. Like the fact that
Yeah,
people
that
will
is
sit in like
nuts.
stand-up meetings like every day, being like, "This is what I got done yesterday. This is the challenges I faced." It's like, I don't care. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. I don't mean this in a bad way, but I don't care. I don't need to know what everyone else, like the specifics of what everyone else on the team is doing. It's like too
Yes.
much. You know? It's like I want to be able to do like my own work. You know? I feel like it's too small of a. Too broken down just into too small pieces, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of like what I was dealing with what I was dealing with at my last job, right? Like slowly the administrative burden kind of
Yeah,
takes over
yeah.
the ability to do any. Like I feel like to like get something done, I need it's like not linear, right? Like if you have like an hour, and then compared to having like 6 hours, like it's not like you're going to get 6 times as much done in 6 hours uninterrupted, right? Like I feel like I'm going to get like 20 times as much done. Like if I have like an hour between meetings, like compare like
Yeah.
I would much rather have like these like long blocks of uninterrupted time to just like focus and like not have to think about talking to people and like things like this. Yeah. I think I've read like is Gumroad very low meeting? Is this the
It's kind of been
is
so
the
for the longest time, yes. So when I joined there, it was basically like the tagline was like no meetings, no deadlines, fully async, and it was like just super nice because they basically came in and was just like it was like my perfect way of working, which is just like, you know, someone puts like a big pile of work into my lap and is like, get this done. You know, that's like my favorite way of working when it's like, you know, no,
yeah
well, like the process doesn't matter, the specifics don't matter. It's just like, you know, as long as it gets done in like a good amount of time. It gets done in like a good quality. That's all that matters, you know. That's how I want to work. And
Yeah.
that's how it was for the longest
Yeah.
time. And then like I think like when the pandemic, you know, because like during the pandemic, like services like Gumroad like really skyrocketed just due to everyone suddenly being like terminally online, not just nerds like us. And so
yeah
online services like that just got like a huge popularity boost, and so that kind of ended up plateauing, and so he had to like let a bunch of people go again who were hired during that time. And so that's when like
Yeah.
that was like a year ago or so, and so then things started kind of moving towards like, you know, a bit of a meeting culture, and that kind of led to some friction between us because like I just don't do well with that, you know. It's just like I just get bored in them. I just want to do work, you know. And so
yeah
there was
yeah.
a bunch of friction, but we always ended up still working together in some way. And so what we're doing now is what kind of
Nice.
works even better for me is that we don't do hourly pay anymore. I just get like paid for work I deliver. And so it's like if I do something that's scoped for like, I don't know, $1,000 in like, you know, a few hours, it's like nice, you know?
Yeah.
So, I do
really
prefer
good.
that.
This is kind of like nice. I'm kind of in a similar spot right now where I'm doing like some small amount of contract work. And I found this to be much less stressful.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
like, you know, especially with streaming, like I have like my time availability is very limited. Right? Like I have like a couple of days every once in a while. So like, because I'm trying to do a bunch of stuff for this, and like I'll you know, it's sort of nice to not be under the pressure of like, oh like, man, I feel like I'm wasting their money by like you know, I'm sitting around and I didn't get anything done like today because I'm sidetracked by meetings and like other stuff. Instead, like it's really nice to be like, okay, well, I worked this amount of time, I got this done, I get paid for this, I'm not worried about it otherwise. It sounds really good.
It very much encourages that way of working of just like, I don't know, like I think like especially with programming, it's like, you know, your process shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter like, you know, what when you work, how you work, like what you do. It's just as long as like, you know, the product works, it's
results.
good quality, it's maintainable and all that, and like, you know,
Yeah.
the customer's happy, like why does anything else really matter, you know? And
Yeah,
so
I 100% agree. Yeah. No, that's the best.
and so like contract work and like project-based pay is like super nice because it's like, you know, you deliver something and you get paid for it, and that's that. So how do you go about finding clients to contract
Oh.
for?
I honestly I don't go for like, this is just, I'm doing a little thing right now just for like a friend from a previous employer. I haven't done much at all. I'm mostly just like, I'm in a position now where like you know, I like I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't seek this out even. I'm pretty much 100% focused on streaming. And streaming, you know, pays my whatever bills I have, and I think really all I'm trying to do right now is like you know, I kind of consider it my job. Like what is my job? Like my job is like I need to make the streams better, and I need to you know, I need to maybe make some video games and sell them. Like,
Oh really?
but,
You
like,
want to sell them too?
Mostly I'm focused on the former. I would like to do like release a commercial game eventually. But like this is far afield, and like really I'm basically like 99% focused on like how do I make streams better. That's all I'm thinking about. other than some very, you know, occasional other diversions.
Like this here. Hello.
Oh, yeah, no, this is good. This is great. I mean, of course, like, also I'm focused on having a good time and not being very stressed out. And
That's very important.
Talking to talking to cool people and making friends and hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, very much falls into the category of like, I want to be a human being, right?
Yeah.
I want to talk to people and have fun. And like, yeah, like if I didn't want this, like I would just go get a job, right? Like that's what makes streaming fun. Like it's like you get to hang out with people and make connections.
Yeah, it's like so exciting and like so like you meet so many different people and it's just so like social in like its own cool way.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's one of like the people talk a lot about like how hard it is to make friends as like an adult. But I've made so many friends. Like I've you know, I've taken to like I've met people IRL, right? Like I've been going to like conventions and stuff. Like I went to TwitchCon last year and I've met like I don't know. I've just met so many people and they're so cool and it's so good to hang out with everybody.
Yeah.
I'm really happy about it.
I honestly, I love to hear that both for you and also from like a personal perspective, because like, you know, now that things are finally a little more stable for me again, and that I'm also like, you know, looking to get into it a lot more and focus on it more, especially as like work is like taking up less of my time and I have like, you know, just a bunch of like free time that I want to like allocate. And so like knowing that like, you know, even as you focus more time on it, it only becomes more rewarding and more satisfying is like very encouraging, you know?
Yeah. I think it's my whole impression of the streaming thing has been, you know, I had a completely different impression before I started, but I've been so pleasantly surprised. Like it's been, I mean, maybe this is particular to the, you know, the I think the software thing is especially pretty nice.
There's so many cool people in this category, right?
Yeah, it's like, and it's mostly older people like, you know, I imagine like if I was streaming gaming, it might be different, right? It might be like, I don't know, I don't like people yelling at me about being bad at the game or something. But like here it's like, it's very chill. It's people who kind of are doing cool stuff themselves, and like, yeah, it's great. It's really great.
It's like I was genuinely surprised, like getting into it. Like even if as I like, you know, started getting more and more chat activity, I was like genuinely surprised, like how rare it is to have to do like any kind of moderation, because people in general are just so nice, you know. And of course, like if you are like on a, it probably is different like a gaming channel, like you see like a lot of mods and like a lot of like people, I don't know, getting banned. But I feel like in this category, like people want to be nice and don't want to troll and like be like unpleasant most of the time.
Yeah, it's good. I think there's I don't know what to say other than it's good, but it is good. It's really good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to what the next 5 years, what the next 10 years of
hell yeah, me too.
Streaming programming looks like. It'll be exciting, I think. Who knows what will happen.
That's part of the excitement. Like it's taken me quite a while to be like okay with not knowing that, because like I've always been kind of a person, I don't know whether you can relate to that, who's like, you know, really wanting like everything to be in my control and like being scared when things aren't. And so like learning to be okay with, or even like appreciate things being out of my control a bit, and just kind of like, you know, going with it and like not taking it as like a bad thing, but more as like an opportunity to like experience new things, was like a really important thing to learn.
For sure, yeah, and only feeling like, I think it's a hard thing to learn, to like be like okay with things, like, you know, if something like goes wrong or something and it's outside of your control, you just have to like get used to being like, you know, it is what it is, right? Like it's not, you know, it's a nice attitude to have, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I really I probably should run and go. I don't want to keep you too long either.
You're not keeping me. I mean, if you need to go somewhere, then you can go, but you're not keeping me from anything.
Okay, cool. I think we're at kind of a natural point maybe, and once we start talking about streaming and stuff, you know, we're going in We're going in circles. This has been super duper fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you too.
It's,
Thank you for being here.
we should do it again sometime. For
I would
sure.
love that. Maybe as a part of like the Haskell thing you mentioned, that sounds really fun. Like I would
Yeah,
love
no
to do something with Haskell, get like learn about that, learn something new. That would be really cool.
I'm trying to get better at talking to people, so this would be perfect for me also. This is really great. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go eat 1 pound of beef and rice. And
Sounds great.
Go
You do
stare
that.
at the sun before it goes down. Thank you. Learn about monads. Yeah. Okay. I'll do the thing. Okay. Are you're on your usual streaming schedule, right? So you're gonna keep going.
I mean, maybe I could, I suppose. Yeah.
Yes. I don't want to put words in your mouth or anything. I just don't. I don't know. I'm trying to.
No, I mean,
It's always so, you know.
I think I'll just get something to drink and then I'll probably
parties.
just work on the chat server some more because the chat server has been really fun. That's been
Hell yeah.
just my project to take a break from web dev because
Oh
it's,
yeah, we didn't even talk about this.
well, let's
We
talk
didn't even
about
talk
it.
About the chat server.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the deal there? What's this, Fire Rainer? What's going on with that?
Well, so the chat server is kind of like the reason for the idea was kind of like that. This was something similar to what I worked on back at like the previous company, like the No site I mentioned, which was like just a highly distributed chat server, just like, you know, kinda Discord like, but more like specialized, and it was just basically the most fun project I ever worked on, and I didn't get to finish it there either, so it was just always like, you know, the one that got away, you know, and I always wanted to do something like that again, and I kept trying to find ways to do Rust and Gumroad, and it never really like panned out or turned into anything because it was just like so.
Yeah.
I don't know, like it just wasn't a good fit for them, I think, because it's like, you know,
Yeah.
very productivity focused, and like, you know, it's hard to like Rust is really cool, but it's hard to be productive in it because it's like most of the time there's like another programming language you can use that's like, you know, more productive to do it in. And so
Yeah.
never really ended up using it. And so I was like, you know,
Yeah.
now that I've been like spending less time at work, it was like, you know what, let me just do recreational programming again. And so I came up with like doing something similar but from scratch, and something like Discord chat server with just right now it's like I can connect, I can send messages, I can add friends, I can join channels, create groups, add channels to groups, and just it is kind of like 10% of Discord and really ugly, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I have
great,
no
though.
plans to do like any kind of voice chat or anything like that, but like the
Yeah.
text chat works. There's like server side logs and all that, and it's like it's been really fun just to get to write some Rust again for the first time in years, because it's a very different kind of programming than like web dev, you know, because web dev is like very straightforward, very cookie cutter, and you just solve very different challenges when you do something like Rust, you know. And it's also allowed me to like
Nice.
have another look around at like the front-end frameworks that are out there, because
Yeah.
I'd been forced to write React for quite a while and hadn't
you're
had
not
a
locked
chance
in
to keep up
anymore.
with.
I was just saying you're not. You're not locked into like whatever the company
Yeah,
is doing.
exactly.
You can kind of. Yeah.
Do you have any preferences on like front-end frameworks and that kind of thing?
I barely write any front-end code. To
That's
be
fair.
honest with you, I have never used React in my entire life.
Be
I've used
grateful, be
some, like,
glad.
React, yeah. Most of the time these days, honestly, if I'm doing front-end stuff, I am going to straight up just raw use JavaScript or PureScript and manipulate DOM elements.
Yeah.
I'm going to add events to DOM elements, and I'm going to do the thing.
Honestly,
I've
that's
done some things with
underrated.
this, and yeah, it's really fine. And I've tried using some, I tried using like web components, which is like I don't know, like the native web stuff, like Shadow DOM stuff, and this kind of thing. I used this for one project and I didn't, you know, I didn't really love it. It was fine. I've used a couple of like tiny little React-like things because I kind of like the idea of React in principle. It's kind of like functional almost, right? It's sort of cool. I like I've used this thing called Mithril, which was like it's like a very tiny like virtual DOM and diffing thing that's kind of gives you some of the React stuff. Because like React is like I like the component idea kind of, right? I like this sort of like, you know, it's almost like, you know, it's like kind of what it's like the containerization of the thing. I like having like the thing as like a little unit that I can combine with other units.
Yeah,
that has
for
its
sure. That
own,
makes a
like,
lot of sense.
styling
Yeah.
and, you know, this is nice. But like I also just don't need it much of the time. I've used another thing called Hyper App that I think is another small React-like thing. But like overall, like I just don't do very much front-end stuff at
Yeah.
all these days.
Sense.
And I've never done this for work, and I've never really it's all like the only things I've ever done is like made little personal sites and like little web apps and games and things. So it's like really the majority of the web programming I'm doing now, or if you can call it that, is the little game I'm writing right now. I have like a game engine that I made, and it can build to either native games, or it can build to like a native binary or to WebAssembly.
Mm-hmm.
So I do some amount of stuff to like make that work, but like it's mostly kind of abstracted away at like the actual game level.
The big issue with WebAssembly is that there's like no, like if you were using like the WebGL thing or something, is that there's like no good way to like make it accessible, you know? Because like with like the actual like HTML stuff, there's like such cool accessibility APIs like ARIA and stuff like that. That's like really good that you can like, you know, have things like be keyboard navigable and like have like screen readers announce things, and it's such a shame that like with WebGL there's like none of that.
Yeah, you're back to just a frame buffer. For something like a web application, I definitely wouldn't want to use it, I think. There are some things you can use, like you can use like Rust and eGUI plus this to have like an actual like, you know, like you know, for something like this I don't think I would. But for a game, you know, a game already is like the accessibility proposition for like a graphical game is pretty low anyway. So it's like I've you know, I'm basically just trying to make games that run both natively and in the browser. And this is basically the only way to do it, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, I was curious because like.
Oh, sorry. So someone in the chat just mentioned WebGPU. I think WebGPU like still doesn't have like very good browser support, right?
Let me look it up.
That's what last I checked.
WebGPU.
Like it's still WebGL still I think is the easiest way to like have something that mostly works everywhere.
No, that's still a lot of red. Yeah, that's not doesn't look very well supported yet.
Yeah, it is cool, and I would like to use this in the future, but for now I'm gonna stick with my dusty old WebGL. I know this better.
And so could you also use this to like render UIs and stuff like that?
WebGPU, yeah. I mean, it's the same. It's similar to WebGL in the sense that like you just get hardware accelerated graphics to just but it's just to a canvas, right? To a frame buffer. So it's like none of the like there's gonna be no accessibility kind of thing for this either. It's just you have a big grid of pixels and you can populate the pixels with, you know, colors. So
it's just the same thing, just better, basically.
Yeah, it's more. It's closer to like I don't know how familiar you are with the graphics API stuff, but like
not super.
It's closer to something like Vulkan, or like it's like it gives you like it gives you different abstractions, I guess, over the GPU.
Okay.
And they're more a little more general, a little less like legacy cruft kind of stuff that OpenGL has. Yeah, DirectX 12 Vulkan Metal Wrapper. Yeah. This is the thing basically.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. I mean, just like WebGL is like an OpenGL wrapper, basically. Or I mean, WebGL probably is in practice a wrapper for something else in a lot of cases. But at the end of the day, it's just a way to talk to the GPU from your browser. They all are.
Oh yeah, then you just render it to canvas element. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
WebGL is OpenGL ES, something you can't remember specifically though. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And there's like small differences, but it's close enough that like you can like there's a nice Rust library called Glow, which is like GL on whatever. And it like, provides you a wrapper.
Does it stand for I thought you said whatever because you didn't.
On whatever.
Actually on whatever. Okay.
Yeah, it actually is whatever.
Okay.
Right? So you can use this library, and if you set up your thing correctly, you can build the same program using this, and it will both run like you can build it to a native
that's
binary
cool.
that just uses OpenGL and renders, or to a web thing. Right. So that's what I'm doing for like games these days. I have a little like game engine that kind of abstracts over this. So if I write a game, I can just say, hey, put it on my website so people can try it, or I can say because of Nix, I can say like, okay, run this command, make a Windows build, and it just makes an exe file, or I can say make a native build, make a Linux native build, and it does this. So yeah, that's kind of where we've arrived.
I wanted to get your take on it as a functional programming proponent since you mentioned it before. Personally, one of the big things that's always bothered me about React is that I feel like functional programming is such a bad fit for making a UI, and I feel like it's part of why React is so painful to use, because like UI is like a fundamentally super stateful and very side effecty thing, and I wonder whether you have like a different take on that.
Maybe again, coming from the perspective of someone who has not used React very much.
Not just like in general,
like
functional programming
I
to
think,
like construct a UI.
I would think of functional programming as not being something like the value proposition of functional programming is not necessarily that like state is bad, right? Computers are like state machines,
yeah, exactly.
right? Computers are very stable. I think in my eyes the value of like functional programming, especially like the typed kind of functional programming that like Haskell is like being very careful about your usage of state, right? And acknowledging like mutable state as a source of complexity. So I kind of like it in this respect because it's not saying you can't have state. It's saying, okay, you have to manipulate your state in very controlled ways, and this can be awkward, right? This can be, and I don't know what the good way really is like overall to do functional UI. I know there's a thing called functional reactive programming that sort of has is something that's sort of interesting in a UI context. I think there's some of this you can do with Elm. Elm has like a, I don't know. Elm is like a front end thing that is very functional focused and that might be worth checking out. I haven't used it very much, but I know it has a lot of fans and it does things in a very particular way, and it's maybe good. I do like I don't know. It's like I like putting the straitjacket on a little bit, right? I like being able to say, okay, these are the places where state modification happens. I cannot just modify. I cannot just set a variable wherever I want, and then because this is this can lead to complexity, right? It can lead to, well, what if something else needs to reflect the value of this variable, and then we have to make sure we're updating things at the right time, and like this produces complexity.
And so this isn't just about like mutable state, but like just a lot like more than even something like Rust does it. You mean?
Yeah, I feel like the places where like like again, I don't know very much about React, but like I think React, like if I recall, like there's stuff like like saying like instead of just like setting a variable, you're probably going to want, if you have some internal state, maybe you have like an action for this. Is this like React terminology, right? We have an action that like and then you say, okay, this action happens, and this action like influences like this affects the state change later, right? This like there's some like it's kind of the place where state change is kind of separated from like other things, right? From the UI itself. And I think I do like this in concept. Of course, in practice, it can also turn into a bit of a mess, and it gets all this hacky stuff attached to it, and it's like, but like I think I still like the idea of being extremely like kind of disciplined about where state is changing, and how it can change. But yeah, like as Vettel says, I think it's always kind of a bit of a mess. Most of the UI stuff I do these days is like I guess immediate. I don't know. People call this like immediate mode UI, or like I honestly, like for games I'm writing, I've been taking an approach where I just like I don't even have like I have like a bunch of helpers that like for things like keeping track of like states of things and like doing in like a thing that always gets me like for like doing like very like carefully managed state planning for UI is like there's often a lot of hidden state that people don't consider, right?
Like what?
Especially if you're working like with graphics. Like here's an example, right? Like if I I don't know. What's a good thing, right? Let's say I'm clicking a checkbox, right? This is very contrived, but let's say I want there to be a cute little animation when I click the checkbox, right? There's like a little, the check just like draws in, right? right? I don't know, something like this, right? Or if there's like a toggle, but if like I can bring a menu onto the screen, but the menu like scrolls in from the side or something, and it takes, you know, half a second, or it takes a quarter of a second to appear, right? Suddenly that like representing that toggle as like a boolean, right? Like what maybe some UI things are going to try and do for you, like it's, oh, there's this boolean like this is not correct, right? There is additional hidden state, right?
The animation state,
that hidden, yeah, the animation state, right? The state involving like when you click the thing,
That's
how
true,
much
yeah.
time has elapsed, and things like this. So I think, especially when I was first writing, like working on games and things, I did a lot of like, I made this mistake a lot, right? I frequently was making the mistake where like I was trying to separate, like, you know, I was trying to make the state of my UI closely match like the state that I actually cared about in terms of like the domain logic, right? But this is not correct. The UI itself often has a lot of like intrinsic state to just like render itself, right? And this is, yeah, this I think is the source of a lot of this complexity, right? There's much more state than people think there is, right? There's, if you want to actually like render something that looks nice and feels nice to use,
Yeah, for sure.
there's so much additional state.
That's true, yeah. Like you said, state that you don't really think about, but like state that is just necessary just for not the functionality of the app itself, but just to like make it look nice.
Yeah, and like, you know, if I have a little text field and the cursor is blinking, right? Like that's state.
That's true.
Right?
That's state.
That's
Yeah,
a lot of
you don't
state,
think about it,
right?
but it's state. Yeah, because
yeah.
It's also the kind of thing, like it's different whether you like, you know, use something high level like HTML and CSS, or something like, you know, Rust, and you're like actually like, you know, talking to like the graphics like renderers. Like, you know, if you use something pre-made, then almost all of the time it's not something you ever have to think about, because it's just like built in and happening automatically. But if you're like doing everything yourself, then suddenly all of that is state that you have to think about.
Yeah, like really like it's eye-opening to think of it in just terms of like, you have to write it like what is graphics at the end of the day? What is UI? Right?
Yeah.
You are populating an array, right? You are filling an array with numbers. And like we're in a position now, right, where that is very abstracted away, right? If you write something with like a UI, like GTK or something, or WebDev, or anything like this, right, you are very far from the array of numbers. But at the end of the day, it is an array of numbers, all right? And maybe some, you know, there's additional metadata, right? There's trees, there's some tree that describes, you know, like things for accessibility, right? But like the core thing, like to make an image, like, yeah, this is complex, right? All of, there's just so many layers upon layers upon layers, like how we expect things to work, right? Oh, I can mouse over text and I can highlight it, right? I can, you know, double click on a word and it highlights, like layers upon layers. What is yeah, I don't know.
Yes, it's very interesting in a new perspective, and you know, something. Like I said, that's kind of why it's annoying to me when React just kind of makes it so. When you use React, or when I use React, I feel like that it doesn't work for you. It makes you work for it. Like, you know, it's using something like a high level language like JavaScript is supposed to be convenient. Like that's the point of using something like that, and to then have something that, like, you know, makes it inconvenient, that, like, you know, makes you arbitrarily adhere to certain like pseudo functional programming paradigms, just kind of is more annoying than helpful, I would say, because it's not like you're gonna be able to like introduce any kind of real functional programming principles into JavaScript anyway. You're just kind of doing
I mean, maybe
5% of it, you know.
Maybe. It's like I think a lot of the thing is like, I don't know very much about React, but I think a big thing that causes strife is like abstraction mismatch, right? It's like like you say, like the value proposition of a high level language is convenience, and specifically, right, like the you know, I kind of think this is like core to programming, right? Like being able to, like, the systems we work with are too big to understand everything, right? You can't hold all of the machine code in your head, right? What you hold in your head are higher level operations, right? Even if you're writing C or something, you're thinking about like, okay, well, I'm doing like like even if you're writing assembly, is the thing, right? If you're thinking about assembly, you're not thinking at this level of like just every instruction independently.
You
You're
don't have
thinking, like,
every
well, I
line
have
of
this
code in
subroutine,
your
this
head
does
at the
a-
same time.
Yeah, this does a copy. You're not thinking like, okay, well I have increment compare copy 1 byte branch. You're thinking, okay, this is a routine that does mem copy, right? This copies bytes from one place to another. And then higher than this, you're thinking, okay, well maybe this is a function that renders text to the screen, right? You're not thinking about the how, right? And the ability to not think about the how is like this is what programming is.
Yeah, I agree.
almost, right?
It's also
like,
kind of what makes us skilled programmers, like to filter out like the
right.
high level information from like say you're like coming into a new code base and like to filter out like what is it I need to know, not like get lost in the sauce, but just kind of like focus on like okay, so this is what I need to like solve the task and being able to ignore everything else.
Yeah, like these are the operations that kind of abstract over the lower level things, right? This is what these are, and how do I combine these? Right? Being able to think at that, being able to see the forest, right, instead of looking at the trees. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And this is like everything. Like this is how math is, right? If you study like math, right? Like math is about, right? You have some definitions, and then like some rules about those definitions, and you're going to use this to like come up with some other definition based on this. And the point of that other definition, right? The point of like some mathematical structure, if you're talking about, I don't know, like it's both like generalization and also like ease of understanding, right? Like you can start talking about properties about like groups instead of specifically properties about every individual, I don't know. So like I think like like this is essentially good, this like abstraction thing. Like this is like what programming is, right?
Completely
Even
agree,
if you're writing assembly, you're doing these abstractions exist in your own head, right? They don't even have to be like in the program, but you still have this notion of and when it really starts to break down is when the abstractions are not appropriate, right? When they're not good, and you have to start piercing the veil and going down to the layer below, right? Like it's like I imagine like what you're describing in React is like this, right? It's like
I think so, yeah.
whatever abstraction, whatever like API basically like React is presenting to you doesn't allow you. It makes it really awkward and annoying to do something. So you have to kind of reach beneath this and tinker around in things you don't really want to understand to make the thing happen, right? It's the same thing for like for if you're writing a game in a game engine, right? If you boot up Unity and then suddenly the way Unity does things like doesn't allow you to do the thing you want, that's because Unity is presenting the wrong set of abstractions to you, and you have to kind of pierce this and like go down, and it's and this is a frequent source of annoyance, and it's also just like inevitable, right? Like no one's gonna like what the appropriate set of operations is like super contextual and dependent on like
absolutely,
especially for something like where there's a lot of different possible like use cases. So like it's kind of inevitable, but like I think this is like a lot of like what defines, like if I had to say like what is a good like a good API, a good interface to something, I would say a lot of it is like the degree to which I can think about the problem in terms of that interface, right? Like if I have a library for displaying like graphs on the screen, right? Maybe it's like a web library. It lets me display bar graphs on a canvas, right? The degree to which that thing is good and useful and like has good abstractions is like the degree to which I can think in terms of the interface provided by that library and not have to think about it in terms of like, okay, what canvas operations are actually being performed here?
That's true.
How do I have to like, right? Like the ability that you can like the degree to which it enables you to think less, right, is like, which is what it actually, that's like the actual utility it provides.
It's a measure of the quality of the library, because like the whole point of having the library is that you don't need to think about it, and like and there's always going to be like okay, you're doing like something like really at the same time, you also don't want it to cover too much, because like if you're like doing something really like specialized, then this is the thing where there are trade-offs, where it's like, okay, so if you...
There are always trade-offs.
Yeah, so if you're doing something like super like specialized, then like you almost want to have to go down to like the canvas level, because like you don't want the library to like think about like the super specific stuff, but like as long as you're like doing like reasonably normal things, then the library should cover this. It's like they're tools for thinking, right? It's like
it's if you have like these nice abstractions, they let you think about other things, right? They
Exactly.
let you broaden your thinking, right? They let you see the forest more and the trees a little, right? They let you, I don't know. So this is really good. Yeah. Who knows? Anyway,
I have to step away for a few
minutes.
minutes. If you're down, I would love to chat a bit more. If you want to like also take a short break or yap a bit, or we can stop here for now. It is up to you.
Yeah,
But I have to like step away for
I'm
like
probably
3
not-
minutes or so.
Oh yeah, no worries. I'll probably hop off if it's okay with you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to.
No, that's fine.
So this has been really great, but I also.
If you
I'm kind of on
if you
island. I
are
need to, like, eat
starving, then I
breakfast.
totally understand.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'll go eat. But this has been really great.
It's been
Sorry, I
super
won't
fun.
keep
Yeah, thank you
keep
so
the
much
version.
for being here and spending some time and yapping with me.
Yeah, this has been excellent. Please have a good day.
You too. Thank you so much for being
Bye,
here.
chat room. Bye.
Okay. He is gone. I shall BRB. I shall get some more to drink, and I will see you soon, and we can do a little bit more chat server work if you are up for it. See you soon, friends.
Liftoff of mission 41D, the first flight of the orbital Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower. Discovery's core computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.